We are. Hello, beautiful people of the world. I hope you are well. It is Wednesday night. I'm going to be talking. Oh, my light. Is the light all right? It's a bit weird. I'll sort it in a second. I'm going to be talking to Chris Buckley tonight. Very excited to talk to Chris. I've known Chris for years and years from the scene. He is a workhorse of a musician and an absolute beast of a guy. So, yeah, can't wait to talk to Chris. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes. I just want to quickly announce later in the week. Let me get my Brandon. Shut up. Friday night, going to be talking to this man, Cammy Fair. Very excited about that. And then I'm going to get my calendar up too and just announce some guests for the end of the month. So yeah, we've got Chris Buckley tonight, got Cammy Fair on Friday. We're going to have a wee break over the weekend. Beck, who does all our artwork, absolutely love Beck. She does all the cartoons and stuff. She's going to be on next Tuesday night. So come and say hello to Beck, and if she's drawn your picture, come say thank you as well, because they're absolutely amazing. I love Beck's pictures so much. Wednesday night, we've got Mickey Dixon. Thursday night, PJ Kelly and the rest of Cullen, and we're a band from up north. Really awesome sort of metal. Almost kind of turned a bit folky now. Friday night, Aaron Wright, the man himself, and then we've got Big Andy from Big Fat Panda, and then we've got even more booked the following week, so it's all happening. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time and chatting with me. I appreciate it a lot. Right, I'm going to get Chris on. See you in a second. Oh, where's he gone? There he is.
Hello. Hello, sir.
How we doing,
How's it going, man?
I'm
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
It's good to see you.
How are you?
Not too shabby. I was to say, I'm not gonna lie. I woke up at like 6:30, 7:15 today for whatever reason. It's just like I just had one of those. I wasn't even up all that late. You know, I just had one of those days where I was like, I do not want to get out of bed. And
oh man,
just
that's terrible.
News
get out there.
And then I seen your message, and I was sort of like, well, I was like, podcast. Oh my god, run! So I was rushing about like a madman. I was like, you know what? I was like, we'll start a little bit later. I'll have a coffee. I had a quick sandwich. Feeling groovy now, man. So yeah. How about you, dude? What you said you went for a bagel today? Big
I did, mate. I
big
did.
stuff.
I'm trying to like do things with my day, just to make them interesting. And
Yeah.
today was the bagel day. I live right beside the Bros Bagels place, so
Oofed.
it's like tempting not to make bagel day every day. Um, but yeah, I've definitely made my way through the menu since it's been there. It's
Is that the
but
one
yeah, man,
like the street eats bit in Leith?
that's the one. Yeah, just
Where
beside the
Jade works?
arches.
Like Jade's got the wee pizza bit through the back.
Yeah, Jade works there, and John Mackey, I think, is working in the bagel place as well. I can see him quite regularly.
Mackey's at the bagel bit. I didn't know that. Cool.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Weirdly, I seen him there when I was helping Jade with the pizza stuff at the beginning of lockdown. Just helping him with like I was to be honest, I just wanted to see his amazing pizza oven. I'm like, wow, that thing's awesome. And I actually bumped into John. He was taking some photos outside, and that's how I found out sort of John was getting in, liked his photography and did all that sort of side of things too.
It's really small, the pizza oven. I don't know how many pizzas he puts in it. I don't know if he got a bigger one, but the one that you remember he showed me was quite a little thing.
It's tiny, but it gets up to like I don't know, like 800 degrees or something crazy. Like you can cook once it's at full heat, you can cook a pizza in there in like I don't know 12, 13 seconds. Actually,
Yeah,
mad.
cool. I mean, I heard that was like a little live music haven for a while, a little pocket. I think people were they were getting gigs. Not sure
Yeah.
what was going on, but
I
when I heard about it, I was like, "What do you mean? There's live music?" I was like, "Meerkat, where is it?"
going on, yeah.
Um,
That is his
it's
plan there.
it's
He wants to turn it into a
allowed.
sort of surf shack, tiki village type sort of Tarantino place,
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
Grab my ashtray.
all right.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's great
So,
to have these places nearby. Like they're still hanging in there. The arches kind of went through a lot of development, and I think they're still sort of able to provide something, which is cool.
yeah, I think everyone was just sort of scrambling around the beginning. I mean, even Stramash put a couple of sort of live events on, and then, to be fair, I think Mark up in Glasgow managed to get the Capture Works working, and has put tons of bands on through in Glasgow. We've also had. Have you seen the Limbic TV thing pop up?
No, man, no.
I'll share you that. In fact, I'll do it. If anyone's watching, I'll just get the link and share it now. So Limbic TV is a guy called Dave who lives down sort of Meadow. It's just sort of near Meadowbank, I believe. And for years and years, he's put gigs on in his house. He actually got in trouble a bit once by the council and things because you know what the council are like. They're like, "What's this? Gigs and happening? It's not a venue and all this," and trying to give him trouble. All the same, he's kept it going all these years. I actually seen Roberta play there about 10 years ago. Was one of my first sort of live experiences in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I heard about
I was
these
like,
flat gigs. Like, 'cause, do you not have like bands like what are they called? I can't remember the name of the Glasgow band. Damn, it's going to come to me.
Go for it.
But yeah, it was like they had these kind of big bands just coming through and playing these little gigs, these little venues in people's living rooms and that. Like,
Amazing. But yeah, so I've just shared the link there. Check it out after. There's tons like The Marriage played, Kirsten Adamson's band. That was absolutely phenomenal. Willie Doug played with the Cosmic Gents a couple of weeks ago.
amazing, class.
That hit like 6,000 views or something in the one night. And that was like, it's about as close to a gig as you'll get these days because everyone gets mic'd up, everyone's separated out in the studio, but it's a full band playing, and whoever's doing the sounds spot on. Sounds amazing.
But the audience is all, I take it, there's no audience. It's all just set up sort of like a live stream.
There's a wee handful of folk in there, so even the band in there every time are like, "Wow, it's amazing to hear like a clap," or like a couple of people just like, "Woo!" at the end. But
Oh
yeah,
man,
everyone's
yeah,
watching online mainly.
you kind of feel like, is there something wrong with me that I miss applause this this much,
I don't think so.
or not even like, or just the sort of general vibe of like what music does, you know, how it sort of connects people, you know, brings a room together. I think it's just such an important thing for humans to
Mhm.
have. You know, we need that sort of connection,
I'm
and
not
it
sure
not
we
been there
even.
for so long. You know, it's just mad.
I'm not sure we even properly know as humans what it's like to do this. I know. I mean, there's been periods of war and things like that. But just the particular sort of psychology of this one event and the way it's affected the music industry in particular. There's not really any real book. I'm excited in a way because it means there's this big blank slate coming, and I do believe that if you go out and try and make something or do something now, if you get your shit together now, I'm pretty sure you'll get rewarded later when things open up. At least that's the way I'm trying to look at it.
Well, I'm just imagining this, like, it's the rules change 1 minute and there's going to be this mad dash to get gigs, you know, and these bookers are just going to be flooded with these people, with people wanting gigs left, right, and center because it's going to finally be allowed again.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to be in their shoes, man. You know, they're going to have to do a lot of organizing, you know, but like, and maybe some venues aren't going to be wanting to do music going forward as well. Hopefully, that's not the case.
Hmm.
But certainly, it's something that we need to hold on to some kind of hope, you know. So definitely, this kind of thing, what you're doing is amazing, you know, to keep the creative sort of juices flowing. But what about yourself? Are you playing? You doing any music? You got any recordings or?
I'm trying to just keep plugging away at stuff. So like Seabass has taken a total backseat just because we're quite a big band and it's literally impossible for us to get together. But
Of
Fractal Roots,
course.
Math's down here in the borders with me, so we've actually managed to have a few wee jam sessions. He's on his own as well in a house by himself, so we've had a little bit of free reign in terms of rules because I'm a single guy in the house as well. So we've actually been able to meet up and jam and do some writing, which has been nice. And then yeah, I'm working with Stevie Creed now as well, and we're putting a whole thing together for next year. That's super exciting. Something I've not really done before. But yeah, just we've got all these plans and we're working away at all these things, with the hope that things will open at some point. But not 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 too fussed about it. If I'm totally honest, like I'm quite enjoying the downtime. I am very much missing people and the social
Mm.
aspects of everything. But I do see, like I don't know, like I've had years of just being a complete fucking rage, you know, and it's been nice to really put the brakes on and just go, hey, you know what, like what's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose like it's good to kind of sort of be able to sit back and chill for a bit. I mean, I think the first 2 weeks it happened, I was kind of like, fucking A, you know, like um, I had a bit of cash as well, so because I had some savings and whatnot, didn't even think it would last as long as it did, and I'm buying bottles of like Kraken and whatnot. Like my birthday was coming up, so I was like, I'll just have a good time. I'll treat it as a holiday from work, and
Mhm.
eventually that sort of fades, and you're just sort of like, right, I really need to sort of I need to sort of do something here. And I had a word with myself. I'm like, right, just sort it out, man. Because not that I was drinking heavily, but I mean, it was just 2 weeks of just like being a bit frivolous. And then I
Yeah.
was like, nah, this is going to last a bit longer than this. I need to get some kind of structure on the
Hmm.
go. I need to literally, physically write a list of what I'm going to do at certain times of the day, even, you know, just to give me that extra sort of right. Even if I didn't do it, it would still be some kind of structure, which I think is very important in times like these when you're kind of people are sort of used to a work structure and whatnot, but we're all in a different situation. You
Yep.
know, my brother's got kids. He's homeschooling his kids at the moment. His wife's working from home, so they're all sort of kind of tight there. They go out for a lot of walks and stuff like that, you know. But I mean, I'm here with two other guys. We can come and go, but we have sort of each other when we need each other. We're not kind of in each other's faces like a family would be constantly. You know, I can imagine that pressure.
What do
Just
you
probably
do
want to
for
kill each other. You know.
what do you do for structure? Do you do walks and things?
I try to change it up, man. I don't like to just be a robot and do the same thing all the time. I mean, I did go through a phase of running, so I decided to like. I mean, it was like you can only go outside if you are exercising. I'm right. Well, I'm going to go out and run and run about the place, and you know, get a bit fresher and go and see a different point of well, a different view, and managed to sort of get up to a good 9 miles. Um,
Oof.
After sort of a few weeks, and then recently actually for the Jordan Houston Foundation, which is linked with my mate Paul Haddle, drummer from the 1004s.
Ah,
There
cool.
was a run for charity that we all done, but we couldn't run together. We were meant to be running from his work, which is the bank up at the Guile, the HSBC. And we're running from there to Musselburgh, which is where Jordan used to live. He was a wee
That's a
lad there.
John, like, holy crap.
So this is where Jordan lived, and we were going to run from there together, but because of COVID, we couldn't do that. So we decided to run separately, and it was happening over the weekend, and things were cropping up on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. I'm a carer for my younger brother, Jamie, on the Sunday. So I was like, I can't do it on the Sunday, and it came to Monday. And I was like, right, I'm the last guy to do the run. It's meant to be like 11 miles. I'm like, oh fuck, there's just so much pressure to go out and do this now. I have to do it. I was sort
A
of putting
long
it off
way,
a little
mate.
bit. And you're doing it by yourself, man. You know what I mean? It's like a self mission. It's like, you know, you really got to go right. And I was like, I'm gonna just think about it. It was like I'm doing like a little 5K. I'm just gonna keep going, keep going, keep going. But I didn't sleep properly the night before. Got up at like 6 in the morning and smoked a joint. Fell back asleep. Woke up again at like sort of 9, just kind of right, okay, here we go. And I kind of felt comfortable. I felt in a good mode. I don't know what it was. There was a good balance of what was happening. Had
Yeah.
a coffee, some water, and I just sort of went out like I was doing a normal run. I actually didn't take any water with me. I just sort of drank a couple of pints before I went, and then ran from where I live at the bottom of Leaf Walk up and round to where Granton is, down past the Rock Chime Studios, all the way past Plantain Point, and it was all the way to Musselburgh. I made it all the way into Musselburgh eventually. I just kept going. That's Forrest Gumped it, man.
Mate, yeah, did you have a beard when you got there? It's like,
Oh,
"He's a
mate,
tenant."
honestly, like,
Straight into the
it
pub.
was. I have to say, I was surprised, but look, I wasn't constantly running. I have to say, I was. At points I would stop and walk, but I was constantly moving. You know, there was I think a good kind of 5 minutes where I would walk and then build it back up again. But as soon as I got up to like sort of Seafield, I just kept going, man. It was great. It was an amazing feeling.
Hit the zone.
That's it. I mean, and we had to. Well, we didn't have to run to Musselburgh, but I managed to sort of get there. You know, and I felt like that was cool for that sort of the fact that we're meant to get there in the first place. Walked back to Cat and Dog Home and got a taxi home because my legs were fucked, man.
Please help me. Help me.
And I couldn't. There was nobody there, you know, no one at the finish line. There's no kind of shit like that. So I like phoned my mom. Obviously, told my mom. I'm like, Mom, I did this. I just did this. She's like, well done. I'm like, cheers. And then I got a taxi, and the taxi's like obviously we're in the taxi coming back, and I just told them all about the thing. So it was cool. It was like yeah, it was fun. I had the
Sounds good,
rehearsal that
man.
night as well, and had to walk back from the rehearsal. I didn't realize I just had the adrenaline from doing it, and couldn't sleep that night, man. My legs were killing me, honestly. Like,
It's good to do that sort of like vigorous exercise. Like, I don't do it enough, but I did a good few like hikes in autumn, going out doing some some picking and things, and like it's a good excuse to get out in the autumn. Actually, is just
Oh yeah.
there's always that
Tell me,
potential
where did
reward
you
around
go?
the corner. You know what I mean?
Where did you go, man? What were your spots like? Nah, I'm joking.
Yeah. So 362 by 154 latitude. uh, yeah. No, there's. I've got weirdly down here. For that type of thing is just everywhere. And but all the same, it's like I feel like whoever grows them for you like is waiting for you to like waste a good few days and effort first before you get rewarded. So like I find most years I have to go out a good 5 or 6 times and I'll get absolutely nothing. And then that like seventh day there's like just a harvest.
You've got to be hardcore, man. You've got to be really like kind of like this is the season, and it's like right, cool.
Get in
I
the
mean, I've
zone.
had mates that are just like fucking. They know when the season is. They go out there, they get nothing. They come back with this bag of stuff, and I just remember silly times being younger, man, and like just they're trying to like roll joints with like soggy mushrooms and on
What?
just I don't know. I don't know why they were what well we can consume it, we can make a bucket, we can we can have a mushy bucket. I'm just what the fuck, man? Like seriously, like
That
oh
doesn't sound
mate, mate.
appealing.
I've not had much luck with mushrooms. I've got to say, like most of the more the LSD has been better experiences for me. Like I always found myself a bit too kind of topsy turvy, like the mercury just flew out the fucking head. Like
Yeah.
what way is up? I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking too much. The time I'm taking it.
Possibly. I don't know. I find I mean, I've had lots of different experiences, and I'm way more like setting these days, and and I do mostly solo trips. So occasionally do some ceremonies with friends and things if they ask. But yeah, I sort of stopped using it as party substances and was like, right, what the hell's going on with this stuff? And yeah, for some even tiny little doses of mushrooms could send me on a very wild time. And then there's other times, let's say I've taken like a fair quantity of LSD and not had all that groundbreaking and experience. And I don't know if they're
Mhm.
like to do with the intention and things. I feel like when I've actually had a good idea what I'm trying to get into, I tend to blast off. But if I'm a bit ambiguous about it, I can sort of like sit ready to like the rockets on the ship on the landing pad,
Could
but
be time and a
doesn't quite
place.
take off.
Sort. Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying, man. It could be like a time and a place thing. Like the first time I tried it was like I was about 17. Maybe we're in certain mindsets at certain times of our lives where psychedelics are correct to use and not correct to use. Maybe you've got a lot of things bearing down on you.
Hmm.
A lot. I mean, it's not a case. It's not a good thing to sort of to do at your mind. Maybe when you're having a great time in life, it's sort of something that amplifies the sort of thing
Yeah.
you're trusting. You got a good trusting circle of friends and whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely a time and a place thing. I think so. I don't know. I don't know if I can decipher between the two. I reckon the organic is better for you in the long run, but maybe it's toxic as it is, isn't it? So yeah, I've not
Mm,
done it in such a long time, man. I have to say, like, really,
I
like,
can say like a good way to describe the difference very generally is like a mushroom trip is like if you're looking at a tree and you're on a mushroom trip, you go, I love that tree. I fucking love that tree. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But if you're on LSD and you look at that tree, you go, how the fuck is that tree growing? Like, whoa, I want to know how that tree
yeah.
grows.
Okay.
How are you doing that, mate? Like, seriously, it's impressive. Like, do you- I think that's quite like because it's more like the LSD is almost more analytical, and like the mushrooms are more like I love everything, and you get that with acid too, I guess. But I think yeah, it's more like I don't know. For me, it's a bit more geometric, scientific. How's this actually broken down? And I want to figure it out, sort of stuff.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I think I've had bad times on both, to be honest, but not to the point where I'm gonna stop or be, you know,
Yeah, I
like
think the bad
never do
times.
that. It's
are
more a
there for
case
a
of like
reason, aren't they?
I took this at the wrong time, you know. I mean, there was a moment where it was like I think about 9 in the morning, 8, 9 in the morning. I was at a friend's house. I won't say who it is, but it was like liquid acid, and he had this tarantula
Oh
um,
my god.
in a sort of kind of like fish tank sort of thing. So we took this. I was drunk at the time. I was like, yeah, I've done acid before, but no, it's absolutely fine.
Oh
Not
my god.
realizing that when I took it, it's like boom, and you're like, oh yeah, acid. Damn, I forgot. I forgot about that. That wasn't the right thing to take at 9 in the morning.
Mate.
Now I have to deal with this for another 16 hours. So um, he brought his tarantula out, and we're like looking at it, and I don't know. I think at one point it disappeared, and
No,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
no, no.
he started looking for it, and I was like, right, I'm leaving. I need to get out of here because this is like the vibe just sort of changed from being a healthy, like kind of happy joy to where is the tarantula? Like I'm like, right, fuck this, I'm away.
I'm not
Thing was, it
surprised,
was
mate.
like
That sounds actually dreadful, mate. Like,
it was
that's
like, man, it
horrible.
was like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, like at the bottom of Leaf Flock, you know, like, so I'm just gonna fix this mic. Bottom of Leaf Flock, you know, so it was like Thursday or Friday. It was busy times. And I'm just like, oh no, here we go. Like still a bit half cut. And I'm like, I just need to find a place I can just go that isn't my parents'
Um,
house. That's like, you know, and if I actually had a friend that lived nearby. Thank fuck he was there, you know, he put me on a beanbag.
oh, good.
Here you
Just
go,
like,
man. Smoke that.
oh, beanbags
Here's
are
a
good.
cover. Here's a cup of tea. I'm like, cool, thanks, man.
Yeah. Oh, thank God for those friends, though. I've had a few moments like that where just you're literally in the plight of your life, and you sort of turn the corner, and you're like, "Wow, hi, help me!" You're like, "I'm so glad you're here right now." Yeah. I think
Absolutely,
that
man.
the
And
universe looks after
sometimes
you
like
sometimes.
I think like your best mates or the people that you're really connected with, they weirdly just turn up at the best times, man. You know,
Yep.
like it's a strange thing. Sometimes you can just think about them and they just text you or they phone you.
Hmm.
I don't know what's going on with that. There's something going on with that, but I mean, I'm not too
There is
crazy
that.
spiritual. But, you know, there's something there, something going on.
I don't know. It doesn't surprise. I mean, Wi-Fi is fucking amazing and invisible. Like, why wouldn't we have some sort of version of that exactly going on, even that we just don't know how it works or whatever? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it could be all coincidence, or but I do like I think about folk and get calls all the time and that stuff, and it always sort of freaks me out when it happens. And like, even if I'm by myself, I'm kind of just like, whoa, that's Raj. But
No,
who
there's
knows?
definitely connections there, you know, and it for me it gives me a sort of a bit of faith in any I don't know, in an extreme case, it gives me faith in an afterlife to be
Yeah.
blunt about it. But like it's just that in general, we're not just people that bump into each other, you know, we're not just that, I think.
There's
Um
yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think there's more
oh
going on. If we are
yeah.
just like some disease organism that's like taking over the earth, then fair enough. But all the same, like I've had some pretty profound experiences um along the years, and I don't know, it seems like there's a bit more of the game than maybe just a pointless, frivolous existence in a meat suit for a bit. You know? I think there's yeah, I'd like to think so. I don't know. It
Well,
feels like
have you seen
everything.
that? Sorry, to jump in. You seen the movie Soul?
Literally watched it 2 days ago. Alana and Jasmine watched it. I think they've watched it 5 times already, and they were like, "You have to watch Soul. You have to watch Soul." So
Hmm.
I stuck it on, and oh my god, wow,
Very
wow,
cool, eh? Very cool.
what a movie! Like even as a learning tool for like, and Disney's not been great over the years for like morals, but the Pixar people are amazing. Like wow,
It
what a movie!
it reminded me of like the movie Ghost, Patrick Swayze, but sort
Shit,
of
yeah.
done in a Disney way with like
But it's
Pixarness.
dark themes, right? It's like, I
Like
mean, literally the first scene is like heaven, death. Here you are, kids. Here's life and death. But it's put in such a simple, beautiful way, and the space thing I think works well.
Yeah. I mean, you have to give it to them what they're trying to do. I mean, even with the whole fractal idea, it sort of plays to the what people's experiences of DMT experience. I've never done the DMT before. I've yet to try that.
Uh, Come down
But
here. We'll do a wee ceremony. It is
cool.
truly something else. It's like going into a comic book. If you take a little bit, but then you can properly go actually talk to aliens. It sounds ridiculous, but no word of a lie. And like, yeah, those sort of shiny people in Soul.
Oh, yeah. Well, what the kind of weirdly shaped looking things.
Yeah, they're like god people that are like floating about organizing everything. I'm pretty sure they're inspired by like some of these. And the cool thing is about DMT is like you can read trip reports from hundreds of years apart, like the ayahuasca, the different types of brew and stuff they use. But the trip reports are the same. They go and meet the same like godlike figures or the same symbology, like the same symbolism keeps showing up, or like there's a really the one that got me into it initially was there's this like uh there's like a vine root which gets like crushed down into a powder called a boga, I believe. I think they do like ibogaine treatment places around the world and things, but it's quite a potent psychedelic normally used for getting people off really hard drugs. But within Amazon tribes and some other tribes that are in jungle settings, they use it as a sort of rite of passage. And I've seen a few different people go off to the jungle to do these things and do this particular ceremony. And the common trip report from that is like literally you turn like one of them, there's like maybe seven that are commonly reported over thousands of years, is that you turn into a cat and then you've got all your like your family cats around you, but then they all eat you and you like become your like sort of your I don't know, like spirit animal or whatever in that moment. And it's normally related with like this lynx and its family of lynxes that like eat you. And that's you could read that report hundreds of years apart from all around the world. It's really strange. Like I don't
That's
get that. I don't get
I
it.
mean, I suppose it sounds a bit golden compass to me with the whole. I like the idea of the spirit animal vibe. Like,
Totally.
I met some people when traveling about sort of the Central America. We were in Panama and met this guy
Yes. I
from
wanted to get into this in the deep.
Serbia.
Yeah.
And he was just like telling me all about ayahuasca and how he was from like a broken home and he wanted to like he was seeing his new wife in Colombia and he was over there to do some more ayahuasca treatment and he was the only guy I could get a smoke off it actually because like it was so different in different places, man. I could do a wee weed guide for Central America because it's not as easy as it seems. In different places have got different sort of rules and they sell different stuff and it's like, you know, like the best stuff is definitely in Colombia. You know, you get to Colombia and it's gravy, man. But like anyway, that's a book. I'll save that maybe.
I love it.
So this
I'll buy
guy,
it.
the Serbian guy, can't remember his name. I think his name was Red. I'm just for some reason Red. So we'll call him Red.
He's red.
So he had this little vaporizer, little vapor thing. We were smoking that, or vaping that, or whatever you want to say, on the roof of this place in this hostel in Panama City. We used to sit up and you'd see the vultures sort of circling, you know what I mean? Like you got like Panama City, it's like Sim City or Sin City. It just looks like Sim City, the way that it's all kind of like looks cartoon Panama City when you're there. It's insane. We were staying in the old town. So he was telling me about ayahuasca and he was like, yeah, man, you know, fucking try ayahuasca, you gotta try this shit. I'm like, right, go. But he's like, you got different animals, you know, you got the snake or the serpent, you got the eagle, and you got the panther or the tiger. There were the three different types, three different strengths. And you kind of went on to tell me about these things. You had the visions of different animals, or the specific animal at the end of or at some point in your vision, you'll have like a snake up here, some kind of serpent, or like an eagle. Or I think the strongest one was I'm sure it was the panther, and then the snake was second, and then eagle was the weakest. sort of thing. Where like,
Yeah.
ha, could fly down at the end of your trip. Ha, oh, cheers, man.
Imagine.
Yo, okay, Lord of the Rings ending. You know what I mean? Drop me
Like
into the volcano, you fuck.
like Power Rangers, if you're like got four of you tripping together, you like combine all your animals into one like Megazord.
Man, it's mad. I mean, connection with animals and the whole spirit thing. I mean, I was watching this thing about was it John C. Lilly and the study that he done with dolphins? Have you had a
Oh
look at
yeah,
that?
yeah. Like so, yeah. Like John C. Lilly, like the sort of godfather of ketamine, right? He sort of like disappeared into the isolation tanks for like weeks at a time. That dude, he wears like this
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
Jiminy Cricket hat.
Well, he bought a couple of. Is it not? He was doing a study in dolphins to try and see if they could communicate with each other.
I don't know
And
much
yeah,
about this, so yeah,
well,
fill me in.
they built like a whole sort of, I don't know how you would call it, like, but they built a dwelling that they could live in with the dolphin, so that like the dolphin could swim about in every room and they could walk about in the rooms. You know, you could Google this shit, man. It's crazy.
I'm gonna.
And I think one of his assistants, I can't remember her name, but one of the dolphins especially was getting real, like, I mean, they're sexual creatures, man, and they it's like fucking dolphin, horny dolphin, you know, and it kept having to be taken away and like relieved. They would give it, I don't know, pick it up, take it away to the other dolphins. He would fuck the dolphin, it would come back. But they realized after a time that it was like too costly to do this. It was too much trauma for the dolphin, and like, so what they did eventually is she just started to masturbate the dolphin,
Oh my god.
while it's like swimming, well, in this sort of dwelling. So she would just like, you know, give the dolphin a hand job, every time it sort of. She had she was tight with this dolphin, man. Like before this even happened, like she was like real close with this animal, you know. Real close. So like it was for her, it was probably just like, you know, he's, you know, this, I'm doing him a favor. So because they had a relationship, they were connected, man. It wasn't like I'm fucking like
I'm not sure what I think
having
about it.
sexual acts with an animal. She was probably like, I'm really helping my friend out here rather than anything else, because like he's frustrated and he's like, you know, all the
Okay.
rest. So that was part of that whole thing, man. And eventually he done his experiment with the you know, like isolation suits in a tank. There's lukewarm water full of dolphins, and he's taking the psychedelics to try to where he's
Man,
made.
you know that. I mean, I would pay. I mean, I like going to a theme park and stuff. But you know, if you could pay like 200 quid to go to like a psychedelic dolphin park, I would look forward to that every year.
Oh, they licensed that thing, man. I mean, have you seen the thing with
Hit me up.
dude, the whistleblower and the walrus, or the walrus and the whistleblower? Can't remember which way it goes around. Have you seen any of that?
Smooshy.
Yeah, Smooshy.
Oh, save Smooshy. Anyone doesn't know about Smooshy, the four people that are watching, go look for Smooshy and like help Smooshy. Help Smooshy. We need to get Smooshy back.
Have they found her yet? Have they found Smooshy?
Right, so the latest. Literally,
So
she's
glad you
probably
know about
still
this.
alive. She's likely still alive, but yeah, they're trying to hide her from the dude. I forget his name. Is it Ben or something?
I've
But
got him on Instagram,
he was on
man.
Joe Rogan the other day and did a huge 3-hour update. It was honest. I've never cried at a podcast so much in my life, mate. But that story and
But
just
they were,
all the stories about those dolphins and walruses. Holy shit! I was just
man,
like,
both of them were
what's
weeping.
going on?
Both of
Yeah.
them were like weeping, and I mean, the funny thing is, like, sorry, some
All
Instagram
good.
stuff. I'm trying to find his thing. Both of them were crying, and it's funny because he's like in the documentary. Have you seen the documentary?
Not done it yet, mate, but I will.
Well,
I'm just,
he's like,
I'm gonna have to like literally like just put my seatbelt on for that one because it's like I do watch. I will force myself to watch things like that because I think it's important. But holy shit, it shouldn't be going about. I'm not going about it lightly because that's going to be a really, really hard watch.
well, I mean, he's got such a relationship with these marine animals.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's so like tight with this, especially this walrus, but with other marine animals as well, you know, and he's like, you know, sticking up from here and there and everywhere. But he's like you see him in one scene and he's like cooking up loads of steaks, like massive big T-bone steaks. And then after
Wow.
you kind of like see this, and after a while he's smoking joints with these sort of mates on the deck in Canada or wherever he is, and he's like, yeah, I still love a steak. I'm sorry, I'm a hypocrite. I just love a steak. And I'm like, fuck it, he's honest. That's it. But yeah, save
Yeah.
Smooshy, man. Damn right.
Save Smooshy. God damn it. Well, you've
Cool.
gone off to South America a few times, haven't you? What what like interests you about that part of the world so much? Like, did you have just a calling to go there initially? When was the first time you went? Let's start there.
Well, I never actually went too far into South America.
Mhm.
We kind of ended our trip in Colombia. The idea was to get to Rio. That was the sort of the main, the sort of the where we were getting our flights back, but we changed things around. I mean,
So
we
who was
kind
all out
of
there with you? When did you
it
go
was
out?
myself and Kat. Back when we were together, just the two of us traveling about,
Cool.
for and to be honest, like a friend of mine traveled South America with his girlfriend like a while before then, and I'd already been to Southeast Asia, done 4 months there, which is a whole other thing. Um, but yeah, it was just this seems like the next place to go, and you see all these sort of Caribbean resorts and whatnot, quite expensive things to get to. But looking into it, it's actually quite affordable. Well, it was when I attempted it. When we done it, to sort of fly around through Central America, So we kind of went from Cuba
I've heard
all the way
that.
to Colombia, and to be honest, like Cuba might not have been geographically, it makes sense to go to Cuba first. I think, just because you're flying in. We flew in from Madrid, flying to Havana, but like just for the whole culture shock, it was a tough one. I mean, I'd been like Southeast Asia, Bangkok, Hanoi,
Wow.
these places before, like Ho Chi Minh, these crazy places. But it'd been a wee while, and it was like I was sort of there by myself. So when you sort of get a sense of yourself when you're traveling, you get in a mode, you're kind of independent, and you're just like you're flagrant to a point, like, but you kind of you're confident, but you know what's going on. When you're with a partner, it sort of changes things. You kind of you sort of
What does
you have to
flagrant
change
mean?
the dynamic. Well, I don't know, flagrant. I kind of mean like flamboyant, flagrant, like sort of
Yeah.
just able just to be flighty, just to kind of do this and that, and without too much thought because you're kind of confident. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Maybe
when
maybe I'm using the wrong term, but flagrant. I like I'll
I
stick
like
with
it.
flagrant.
I always ask if I don't know a word. I'm like, what's that word? When did you go then? Well, let's come back to South America. It sounds like you went to the east earlier by yourself.
That's right, yeah, man.
So when
Well, I
what
went.
what inspired you to go over east initially then?
Well, I think I got a bit of cash back when I was in my 20s and went for a 3 week holiday in Thailand. We done some
Yeehaw.
just a kind of 3 week round the bit, well, it was Bangkok and then down to the islands, a few weeks there, back again. And got like a tailor-made suit made, picked it up on the way back, done all that stuff, done some scuba diving. They're just like, this is amazing. I need to come back here. I mean, I suppose when I got the money, it was like, right, I want to do something with this cash, that I've not done before. I can afford to go to Thailand. Let's go. Let's go. I don't know why I don't know why I chose Thailand. I think it was just seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. It's cheap too. It's like everyone says that. It's like go to Thailand, you can live like a king for the time you're there, on very little money.
Well, man, at that point, it was so cheap, mate. Honestly, so cheap. For accommodation, for everything. I went there. I was like, you had to be careful. Really careful not to spend too much money on crap. And then we ended up buying another bag to take things back with us. It was just a it was cool, but it was from that little holiday there, seeing the potential of what could be a longer experience, and meeting these other travelers, these other backpackers that were like, I've been traveling for 6 months, 8 months around here and there. I'm like, I wouldn't mind
Wow.
trying that, I wouldn't mind like just seeing how can I get to that point. So I mean, in my life then, that was really my goal, was to sort of get traveling. I was lucky enough. I was living with my folks. I've got very supportive family, like that have always given me a roof over my head. I've always been lucky
Yeah.
enough to have that. Like, so yeah. I mean, definitely took advantage, and but when I went back for the 4 months, that was a kind of big plan with a friend of mine, good friend of mine. Won't mention his name, and it was actually yeah. So we kind of went over, and on on the first night we got we got into a bit of an altercation. He had his bag stolen. With passports and money and all sorts of passports and bank cards taken. So we were in a bit of a situation for a while, and we had to leave that hotel that night, go to another hotel, and it just kicked it off in a bad way.
I feel like these things happen on holidays though, like to like throw you out your comfort zone. It's like, oh, you're comfy, are you? From oh, now you don't have a passport. Let's see how you do with that one. I that shit happens to me all the time when I'm away. But I kind of just go like, okay, right.
Man, I met
I'm being
so
tested
many
right now.
people that just didn't give a shit about their passport, like, and their stuff. And I'm like, dude, do you realize, like, you're gonna have to, there's not even an embassy in this country. I met boys that were just like, dude, like,
Stuck
what are you playing
forever.
at? Like, a guy that got in trouble with the moped in Laos, and he was like trying to run from the guy, but the guy had his passport. So,
No.
but there was no British embassy in Laos. There's an Australian embassy. So we went down to like 4,000 islands, and I was waiting for some cash to clear so I could like go, but he was like, "No, I'll pay for it." Ended up like kind of me and this guy Keith, it's like sleeper bus, like hardly knew the guy, but he was so paranoid that it was like. But there was this apparent like moped scam. There's so many scams, man, that you gotta watch out for. But eventually he got locked up at the border, and
Oh God.
but they'd taken his Facebook page and they duplicated it, and they were contacting his friends and family and
Holy shit.
telling telling them, oh, I need money. So
Oh my
you
God.
gotta be careful. Have you watched that? Have you watched BBC iPlayer? Are you a big watcher of TV programs?
Mate, I literally watch everything. I want to get into that world, and I want to write for film and TV. So I consume films and TV like I consume music. I just have it on all the time. So yes, like if most things I've seen that are quite, at least that the thing is though, I like to watch awful stuff too, because it's like it's all good watching
Absolutely.
HBO Max all the time, but like you
Yeah.
gotta watch like 4.2s on IMDb to get a good feel for what not to do as well.
Mate, have you seen Birdemic? Have you seen that?
No, that sounds good. It's great. I swear to God, these podcasts are a gold mine for stuff to watch and read.
Dude, Birdemic is insane. It's a guy. I think he's from I'm not sure if it's Korea or somewhere else. One of the countries or in there, but he's like a Hollywood. He tries to make a
Sexy
Hollywood
lingerie
film.
model and a successful software salesman go on a weekend getaway to a quaint Northern California town. Does that sound
Is this Birdemic? Is this the
shock and terror?
synopsis?
No.
Yeah. It's awful, man. It's awful.
Crazy.
It's awful, man.
It's got 1.8 on IMDb. That's quite low. Okay, perfect, mate. Thank you very much for that one.
That's what we want, man.
Oh, Rory's tuned in. Hi, Rory. How you doing, boy?
Hello, buddy.
Nice to hear from you, pal. But yeah, so I love movies, I love film, and I'm watching at the moment. Well, I watched Soul the other night, but TV wise, I'm watching Dream, which is the guy that wrote The Wire.
Right.
But it's all about like the music scene in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans.
Right. What's that
And it's HBO. It's the same guy that wrote The Wire, and it's actually got loads of the cast from The Wire, so it's actually quite nice to see a bunch of familiar faces doing different roles.
on?
But yeah, I'm really enjoying watching that. I think it's great. And then I watched Succession last week, which is all about like the Rupert Murdoch story, but they do it
Right.
under the name of Roy. But it's basically the story of the Murdochs and like the sort of digital takeover, like that transition period between like printed press and hard data, like good big data coming in. It's fucking
Ah,
fascinating,
it just
fascinating. Like,
it just makes me squirm, man.
oh,
Whoa.
it's honest. The whole show is just cunts, but you
How do
you
these
kind of
people
you kind of
sleep at
like
night?
everyone, but they're all assholes, like the biggest assholes.
Mm.
And Macaulay Culkin's brother's in it, and he plays the biggest asshole. And like his just like salesman put down attitude is just, it's like it's really dark satire. Almost like it's like the thick of it, but cranked to the max.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. I'll check. What's that called again? Sorry, not that's Trem.
Yeah. Succession. Succession's
Succession.
the Murdoch one, and then Treme or Treme is
Mm-hmm.
the one that's like The Wire, but New Orleans
I'll check
jazz
that, man. Yeah, yeah,
musicians.
yeah.
And
No,
like literally starts, and it's like one of those parades going through New Orleans, and like each character's coming in playing their instrument and stuff. It's super cool.
oh, mate. Yep. I think I'm. Yeah, I like the sound of that. That's. I'm gonna check that out later. Have you seen
What
The
have you been
Serpent?
on? No, what's that?
BBC iPlayer. It's actually based on true events. This guy, he's like half Vietnamese, half French, I think,
Cool.
and he's a madman, mad narcissist. Kind of goes in and he kind of befriends these backpackers and he drugs them, and then he robs them, takes their passports, sort of forges his picture onto their passports. Sometimes they turn up dead. Sometimes he just sort of keeps them,
Oh.
around. And eventually, like he gets this woman to sort of go along with him, and it's just the sort of situation with the two of them. And he's a very attractive, sort of chic looking dude, and she's like this beautiful sort of accomplice, I suppose. But I mean, they're just going about sort of drugging these kind of unknowing backpackers, that have
Is it
fallen
sorry,
into
did you
their
say that's
web.
based on a true story, or it's like, well, obviously that does sort of happen, that stuff, but it's like a sort of, is it a fictional telling?
No, it's based on a true story, based on a true thing.
Holy shit.
And I don't want to give it away if you've not seen it, but
You said
I think
the
there's a
serpent.
few.
It's on
The
iPlayer.
Serpent. Yeah, The Serpent.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen. The guy looks like Sacha Baron Cohen. I was like, oh, that looks cool, but it's not him. Nice.
But
Yeah,
it's
I'll watch
quite
that.
cool, man. And it just goes to show. I mean, there's a lot of scary stories, like when you are traveling, of people getting into sticky situations. Like you know, there's this certain spray that I've heard, like, of travelers on night buses getting like sprayed with, like, I don't know if it's a chloroform spray or something, or if that's a thing that kind of puts you to sleep. But and then
Yeah.
they steal your shit.
Hmm.
I
Have you
mean,
seen
a
the
lot.
one on the Vice did it on, like, it was like the scariest drug in Russia or something. It's basically like this little white powder that they'll come and just go sort of just blow into your face, and you
That's
sense,
Colombia, I think. Eh?
was it Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever it
that's
was,
it. I can't
freaked
remember the
me the
proper
fuck out.
pronunciation, man, but I think it's scopoline or scopopoline or something,
Yeah, that
something
sounds
like
familiar, mate.
along the
But yeah,
lines.
basically the effect is that like it turns you into their like zombie. They just
Hmm.
whisper in your ear at that point. They're like, okay, let's go to the cash machine and take out all your money. Then we're going to walk to
Hmm.
your house and you're going to give me the keys and you're going to walk in. I'm going to take everything and I'm going to leave in your car. And then they go to
Yeah,
sleep. It's
you
like,
just become their puppet. Like,
that happens over and over. That to me is honestly one of the scariest things I've ever heard in my life. Like the fact that somebody could do that with the blow of a like that. That's mad.
and the thing is with the thing that we're talking about here is that it's not hard to get. It grows in the city. These flowers sort of bloom from the trees, man. Like it's just some amazing like botanic gardens and that. Like they're not like your normal botanical gardens that you would see in Edinburgh, obviously. Or if you go to a park, you got a park in Colombia or a park in Medellin. It's not
Yeah.
like a park here. It's not like a field with like I don't know, that dog shit on it, like, and someone walking a dog and like some expanse, like I don't know, a football field or something. It's they're like sort of little paths that lead into little bits, and there's sort of like raised beds where there's trees coming out. There's no like grass on the ground. It's not how you would imagine a park to be, you know. Parque Lleras was one place in Medellin that
You were at,
was
so the,
was the one.
that's where Narcos was set, right? That's where all that
Um,
happened. Is that Medellin or is that somewhere else?
Medellin, yeah. Medellin, I think, is how they say it.
Okay,
But
it is
like,
the same place.
yeah, man,
Wow.
there and around, like, Colombia was a fucking fabulous place, man. I swear to God, like, it's like without like, I'm going to go backwards and forwards. It's like a Tarantino film, but I mean,
It's all
this
good.
is like the end of our trip was in Colombia, and such a great way to end it. You know, we'd already been in this sort of 6 day yacht journey from Portobello in Panama, past the San Blas Islands, which is like these 360 islands. It is 365. I think they say there's as many as there is days in the year.
Wow.
Islands where you
That
you
would be
can
a fun
stop
pub
off.
crawl. Put a pub on every island and do a pub a day.
Man, there's some shit that goes down with the tourism down there. I tell you, like we were lucky. We hooked up with a good guy called Captain. Was it Captain Pete? He was the Captain Paul Richmond. That was it, Captain Paul Richmond. If you're looking to go to the San Blas Islands from Portobello to Cartagena,
Yeah.
Paul Richmond is the man, and the boat was the Ave Maria. And I think it takes like 13 comfortably. We were there. Oh man, it was great. It was a great trip. I mean, we came into this place, Portobello, which is like, there's obviously Portobello here, but it's near Nombre de Dios, and like where Sir Francis Drake was apparently like buried at sea. Didn't want that. I don't think he wanted to be buried at sea, but he was
Right.
buried at sea, and so it's a kind of cool place. It's like Pirate Cove, man. You know, where we were staying was like the sort of it was like a restaurant that had like a room in it. It wasn't even like a hostel, man. You know what I mean? It was like the shower was behind the bar, and it was seawater coming out of a fucking hose on the ceiling. You know what I mean? So you're not really getting like fresh. A good clean. It was just you're getting the pirate's life. You know what I mean? I sort of felt that. You know, there was
I
still
love it.
civilization, but you were sort of on your way of getting away from it. And we met the people that were all there. We got supplies. Like I managed to get some weed from the guys in the town, which was like a little scary because it's like one wee Scottish white guy going to a big blue kind of group of black kind of teenagers and 20 whatnots, and they're all sort of standing there in a big group, and I'm like, hey guys, you got any I'm away on the boat, you got any weed? And they're like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, I'm Chris, man, what's happening? They're
I
like,
love
where are
it.
you
Did they give
from?
you a hard time? Did they make you jump through some
Oh,
hoops, or did you
no,
get it
man.
quick?
I think they were just so shocked at my. I don't know. I wasn't thinking straight, really. I don't know. I just saw them and went, "Hey guys, you got any weed?" And they
Never,
were
never.
really
You're
cool
going on a
about
boat.
it.
You're not going to find it at
Oh
sea.
man,
Like,
my girlfriend that was with me was just not pleased. She was sort of standing on the road, and fair enough to her.
oh
She was just
no.
like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" To be honest, I asked, like, that was me picking up for the second time in that place, a little pirate town, because the first time we met this guy in
You're
Captain
gonna get
Jack's
weed.
bar. Like, so Captain Jack's bar is a cool little sort of bar that you go up to sort of meet your fucking captain. Well, you get some Thai food and shit.
Like, is that
I'm not taking the piss, man. It's a place. This is a place. It's got a fucking. It's got like a.
I want to
What do you
go.
call it? It's got the Jolly Roger flag and that on the outside. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. You go up there and you meet this mad guy. He shows you some bowling balls that he found in the sea and that the ancient bowling balls not bowling balls. Sorry, cannonballs. Like cannonballs. Fucking, I'm on
Like the ancient bowlers of the
bowling
past.
ball.
No, seriously, this is an Egyptian bowling ball. That's the pyramids, you know. It's not aliens. They just like Skittles.
But he told me, he was like, I was like, hey man, sorry to ask, but do you know where I can get some weed? And he's like, yeah. You gotta go down there and you're gonna walk. There's gonna be the end just before the end of the road. Take a right. You're gonna see a pile of rubbish, and you're gonna hear a dog. Don't worry about the dog. Just keep going, and just don't get too close to the left-hand side of the walk. Oh, what? Okay, man. Okay. I'll go and have a look at this. So, I mean, I've already had a few drinks at Captain Jack's. We've had a meal. We're like, fucking right, man. I'm going to go down there now. And he's like, yeah. The boy will be fine. So I go down, and I'm like, shit. Honestly, there definitely was a dog. And I went down, and I couldn't remember if it was the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I couldn't remember which side he said. Like, I should stay on. So finally, sort of. The dog wasn't really there. It was mauling about. It didn't go for me, thank fuck. But I think if it did, it would have been the right-hand side. And that was where I went instinctively because there was more light there, So I can't remember. But yeah, there was this guy sitting there in a chair, shitty little TV, and he's got this little fucking... He's sitting there. He's not even looking at me. I come up. I'm obviously not supposed to be there. I come out of the darkness into this little sort of... It's like, you can imagine this damp sort of area where outside, not even inside, outside, it's like a sort of garagey area, where you drive a car in, it's like sort of in there. And he's like, I'm like, hey man, I tried to use my best Spanish, how do I say I'm looking for? I'm like, Malta, looking for Malta, and he's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, he sort of looked up at me, like a little sort of eyebrow, and then looked back and pulled out this crappy little Nokia, like old Nokia, and phoned the dude. And I phoned the dude, put his phone back in his pocket, and then a wee kid runs out, gives me some weed, I give him the money. He's like, cool, bye. Fucking, okay. Carry on up the road. But yeah.
After all that, it's a little kid running out.
He didn't even bother. He was the king. He was king shit, man. He was sitting there in his little grease pit, but he had all these little minions around him, man. He had all these dudes that were running around probably doing his stuff,
Man,
it's crazy.
How cool would it be to take these the pirate islands, how cool would it be to take a documentary crew? You could probably just float around on a boat there for a year and get the most crazy film.
Yeah, you would, man. There's some cool stuff around. I mean, to be honest, we were from the San Blas point of view, it was more, that was just the fashionable way to get from Panama to Colombia. If you're gonna go any other way, you're flying. You're not going to get through the Darien Gap, which is one of the most dangerous jungles in the world. You're going to get mauled by poisonous snakes and diseases, and the road runs out.
Why is it that considered the most poisonous part of the jungle? Because there's obviously loads of jungle in that part of the world. Why has that got such a infamous name? Is it just to do with the...
I suppose there's a number of things. You've got mosquitoes, malarious mosquitoes. You've got the fer-de-lance snake. So, the fer-de-lance is it's a brutal, man. It's brutal. It's not a nice guy. It'll fuck you up. And the road runs out there. That's the Pan American Highway stops sort of in the jungle there. Mate, believe it or not, there's a place called Turbo, right? I'm just gonna let that sink in.
It's If like that's like the perfect place for all the Neds of Scotland could go to Turbo for a rave.
Mate,
Turbo!
imagine like that's
Gosh,
it. Like, wait, a turbo, mate. It's turbo. Friday
shit,
night at
man.
turbo. But I don't know if it means something else in Spanish. But it's a place called Turbo, and I was saying before about all the crazy, the fucked up tourism that's down there, because you'll get kids that are just going down for the party, so they go on the party boat, and that is like they feed them next to nothing, man. They give them like rice and fucking like just poor rice and noodle, like dried noodles. They don't
What
pay
kind of
spend
party boat
any
is this
money,
exactly?
but they go out and they'll spend they'll give them all this like cheap booze, real cheap sort of moonshiny stuff that gets them fucked up, and they're dry. It's usually like a route to maybe go for one day. It's to see the Sandblast Islands because they're such beautiful islands. You're talking like the Bounty advert, man. Like like fucking beautiful, man. I could swim from one of these little islands to the other, and just
Wow.
be, this is my island. It's just got one palm tree on it. There's like nothing. I think I saw an octopus once. I think I did.
Wow.
They're fucking elusive, these guys. I think I saw one. I'm sure I did. I'm sure I saw a fucking octopus, man.
Just you on this island be like, that's a fucking octopus. Oh, there's nobody here.
But
Man,
it was
that
amazing.
sounds amazing to me though. Like the thought of like being able to even pretend, like swim to an island and be like, yep, this is my island for today. I think I'm gonna call it like I don't know. What I would probably take some time about naming my island. Put a flag down, get a wee fire going, get a fishing rod,
You can't take too much time naming your island, man. It's not a band. You just got to say the first fucking thing that comes in your head. This is Shell Island. This is like there was one island we were on that was called Isla de Oro, which is like I suppose Gold Island, like Island of Gold or something. But the reason it was called that, there's the Kuna Yala people, or the thing is the San Blas is not part of Panama. It's a separate whole part, man. Panama's fucked up. Like seriously, it's not a country that's seems connected culturally. It's just got different areas. You've got Bocas del Toro at the top, which is like a tourist resort, which is beautiful.
Tell you what I'm
there
gonna
as
do,
well.
right? I'm gonna bring up a map of it. Right
Yeah,
now.
do it, man.
I'm getting a bit more handy with this StreamYard thing, so let's do it. So I'm gonna bring up Panama on Google Maps. Sorry, keep going. I'll bring this up whilst you're talking.
So yeah, Bocas del Toro at the north is like it's kind of touristy. It's more Caribbean. You've got like more of a black community there. You go more into Panama City, and it just becomes more Panamanian, multicultural to a point. But there's certain areas you just can't walk. You just can't go as a white person, and you're gonna get fucked. You're gonna get robbed. We were in. Yeah, there's the map there. So if you look at we jumped off from Portobello, Panama.
Right, so where's Portobello on this?
So if you go towards Colombia, actually, where are you? Where are you here? Which part? Can you swivel it around a bit so it looks? Can you make it a bit more? Actually, yeah. So and zoom in, zoom into Panama City. That's it. And then zoom up and go up to the right and go up a bit further. Yeah, and then zoom in on that coastline that's up there and move up a little bit. And if you pan to the left, you'll see Portobello somewhere when you zoom in. You'll see.
Oh yeah, got you.
It's a wee cove. It's a wee secret cove, like.
Hell yeah.
But it's an insane wee place. And they say that they used it as a place to keep the gold because it was such a hidden place for ships passing it. If you look at it geographically, folk are going to pass that and not even see into that, man. You know what I mean? They're going to go right past that shit. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. We walked all around.
Oh, look at that. I love Google Maps. Like, wow.
I mean, mate, this is fucking cool how you can do this. Like,
isn't that awesome?
Nice
There you
one.
go, mate. We're here. Sometimes I just go on Google Map holidays. Do you ever do that? I'll just
Yeah,
drop
I
myself
was on.
randomly in a city. I'm like, I can figure out where I am just by looking at the road signs.
Yeah, dude,
I'm
I was
sad.
in
I'm a very sad individual.
Google
This is
World. You
amazing.
seen the Google World thing? Like,
No, what's that?
is that the Google World the same as Google Maps when it's like
Oh,
the globe and you zoom into the
oh
globe
yeah,
and shit? Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
what
No,
that is?
yeah, I've seen that. I love all that sort of technology. It blows my mind that that's all like open source, free to use. It's amazing.
Mate, it's so
But
cool.
anyways,
Like,
here we are. Let's
so Portobello, it's like an old town conquistadors used for, this is an interesting place, man. They used for basically holding all the gold before it went out, you know. So they would get all the gold, they put it there. I'm sure there was other places they went, but this is one of the main sort of places. If you go into town, you see this old sort of
so old.
they've got the battlement, sorry, the garrison set up for the cannons,
Yeah.
and all the yachts are out there. But there's a, I don't know if you can find the place that we stayed at. It was like a little bar just on the way in. What the fuck was it called again? The castle hostel or something like that. But yeah, it's a cool place, man. It's very, very mad situation. Like, so when we went out from there, San Blas Islands, and that was like a 6-day thing. You know, it was we were with like a few other people that we hadn't met. You know, that we just kind of met once up in Captain Jack's, back in Captain Jack's, having a cocktail. And yeah, they were actually a really good group of people. We were really lucky. There was no fucking assholes. I think I was probably the asshole. I don't know, man.
Scottish people
But,
get a bit of free reign abroad, I think, thankfully. People.
but yeah,
Scottish things got me quite far a few times, and just got me like talking to people maybe that I wouldn't have talked to. And they're like, especially in America. They're like, I'm 5% Scottish too.
oh yeah, they tried to relate. It's so cute. It's very cute. You know, like you're like, oh, dude, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man, but no. But yeah, no, the people we had, it was a French lassie, an English couple. They were great. Like, we had like, it was a famous Brazilian surfer called Stefan. Don't know his second name, and his girlfriend, who was like a TV presenter. And they were, this is cool. They were doing a trip from the top of the continent right to the bottom, right to Patagonia. So it's Alaska to Patagonia sort of thing.
Whoa.
So they were in the middle of their trip when we met them, like, and they're taking all this gear with them. They had like fucking, we had to put the off-road van in the container. We're meeting the container in Cartagena.
Did this
Sorry.
couple have a dog with them?
No, they didn't have a dog. They didn't have a dog.
Just
Thank
totally
fuck.
random question. I watched something about this couple, and the guy was called Stefan. I can't remember if he was a surfer or not, but yeah, they traveled from Alaska to Patagonia on the exact same trip. I was like, if it's them, I'm going to lose my mind.
Well, her name was Louisa. So if that's Louisa de Campos, I think her name is. But yeah,
That would have been mad.
she was quite. You could tell she was very like. I mean, fuck, man. This day and age, with promote yourself sort of vibe, you know, everyone seems to kind of fall in to some degree. But
yeah.
nah, she's cool. She was cool, man. She turned me on to some cool books. Actually, and yeah, they were really sound. But I got Stefan. He doesn't drink at all, and we would get alcohol from the Cunayala people. The Cunayalas are like I was going to say that earlier. They're the separate from the Panamanian people. They're like the sort of indigenous people that live in the San Blas Islands.
So they've somehow managed to do some deal with the government and be like, hey, we're our own thing. These are our islands, and stay the fuck away.
I don't know how they've just been left like that, or because it's such a touristy place. You know, I mean, there must have been some kind of thing going on, but they seem to have their own settlement there that's just able to kind of operate. But
That's
yeah, I
so
mean, they are separate from the Panamanians. They look indigenous, man. You know, I mean, you're going about and you get such a weird street. Like this island we went to, Ilha de Oro, I was telling you about before. These people come up and we're like going to set up a fire and stuff like that. So I'm taking this log. Oh, this is a beautiful, like, kind of sort of log, like driftwood. I'll put that on the fire. We'll sit on this one, do this one, sort of set it all up for the fire on the beach. But there was like a little woman and that lived on this island with her little man. I don't know if it was her husband or her brother. I couldn't tell. It didn't seem like her husband. Anyway, they're like small people, man. You know, very small and sort of I don't know, rickety looking fuckers. But like the all I remember is like the woman coming over screaming at us, like, or screaming, having a go at me, going, no, 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 you can't do this, you can't do this. I'm like, all right, okay. And it was basically the guy had made this wooden boat and his boat was coming in. And these were the things that he put his boat on when they came in, you know, to stop his boat getting all sandy and fucked up. So we were going to use them for the firewood. And I was like, oh, shit, right? We ended up going to bringing his boat in for him. Man, this thing was heavy as fuck. This was like a big, like, full bit of, like, I don't know, a whole tree or something. When it pulling this thing in, putting it on these things, it would sit on these blocks, you know. And then she tried to sell some necklaces, and yeah, we carried on like that. Okay, it's cool, thanks.
I've managed to get us dropped into the Sandblast Islands
Beautiful,
on the other side now. So look at them, man. It's just actually, this is what I wanted to see. Like, I want to go somewhere like this and just chill on the island. Like, they've just got there, look, they've got their wee bags, they just set up, like, oh mate, oh, it's like a festival. God damn it.
Well, I mean, this is a more looks like a more populated island from where we were on. There's so many, mate. And the guy that we were with was I think he'd been going across that route for a long time. So he's got specific islands he goes to that he knows people don't go to, maybe, that I think that he takes us to. And we had this little dinghy on the back of the boat, and we would go from the boat onto the islands, and we were encouraged to. We actually wanted to, like, camp on the islands in the evening. So he would set up hammocks between the between the palm trees. As you can see, it's pretty easy to do. And yeah, and there wasn't any sandflies, wasn't that many pests, man. It was a really nice, really, honestly, as islands go, I've been at a few, and fucking hell, sandflies are horrendous. And this was like good,
right? You get like really bad bites from sandflies. I've never experienced
sandflies. Fuck you right up, man. I've seen people that I met in Thailand that come back from. I think I was in Cambodia actually, and they came back from the beach, down in the Cape Coast, and these guys were just mauled by sandflies. Just like their legs were just absolutely fucked. You know, I used all this medical stuff that I brought for myself on these people. They just came in. It's like with these horrible wounds, you know, from sandflies, you know, and yeah, it's not nice. It's not nice. I mean, there were some places. This is a thing that I missed about Scotland the most, was the tap water. Oof. And the insects. I didn't miss the insects from Scotland. I missed the lack of insects. You know, you come back and there's just nothing flying into your fucking soup. You know what I mean?
Just yeah. Like, did you find any cool remedies for that sort of stuff when you were out there? Like, was there any like old wives' tales that actually worked?
Man, unstoppable. I remember where were we? Nicaragua, and they're giving us our dinner, which we had to eat outside, breakfast. So it's like you got honey and fruit and stuff on it. They're giving it to us with cellophane over the plates. So you're getting like, here's your breakfast. And the reason that they're doing that is because as soon as you take the cellophane off, everything, and I'm not just talking about one specific kind of insect. I'm talking like fucking every like there was ants, there was like waspy things, there was like flying thing, mosquito thing. And yeah, man, I had not have a good time in that place. And Nicaragua was touch and go. I swear to God, I wasn't a big fan of Nicaragua.
No, like, well, that's like, man, creepy crawlies are fucked. Like, that's something that I'm desperately want to go to a jungle. All the same, I'm like, I just hope nothing tries to go for me.
No,
I'm like,
well, see, Stu, this is the thing you have to understand. Have you seen that movie with Daniel Radcliffe?
oh, jungle.
Yeah, have you seen
That
that?
I watched it 2 or 3 times. It's amazing. What a
It's like
performance from Daniel
he
Radcliffe, right? Oh my God.
man, and the madness that they endure. It's similar to.
Hmm.
It's just like I like how we're getting on the topic of survival stuff because I've been watching a lot of survival movies and it's kind of what I'm into. The situation that we're in right now. There's like the certain things that sort of the survival movies. I don't know. It's the taste. It's right there.
Have you seen?
Um,
There's, if you haven't found it yet, I'm gonna rack my brains to remember the name of the channel. But there's a YouTube channel, and it's got like 4 seasons of just like really, really well done, recreated survival stories. Because
okay.
I felt like I'd done them all. I'd done all the Ray Mears, I'd done all the Ed Stafford, like even Bear Grylls or whatever. Ed Stafford's my favorite. And I was like just craving survival stories, and then I found this YouTube channel. I'll figure out what it's called and I'll share it. But they're like short, half-an-hour shorts. And at first, I'm like, okay, it's recreations. I hate this shit. But the
Hmm.
recreations are really graphic and like super detailed down in like the set pieces and the plane crashes and like whatever's happened. But the stories, man, oh my God, like, like the
Well, mate, do you
um,
remember 999?
yeah, yeah.
Like, do you remember that program that used to be on the dun, 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 they had
Just
all
a
that fucking.
flashbacks. There was a kid was like got trapped in a sand dune, and like
Mm.
my mum's like, "That's why you don't go burying into sand dunes." I'm like, that used to terrify me.
Oh
I'm
man,
like,
it gives you imagination. It really does. Like my both like my mother and yeah, from my mother's side, it's really more than my father's side. Um, like she's always just given me an imagination about what could possibly happen. It was her that turned me on to the serpent and said, like, you need to watch the serpent. After watching this, I was like even more worried about you being in Thailand and traveling, and you're not even there.
what got you into like the survival side of things? Like, what do you watch? Like, what fills that?
Oh man,
Uh,
this book that I read when I was on the yacht, actually going like doing the sandblast thing for the 6 days.
ah,
It's a book about a guy called Alvarez. He was
cool.
from El Salvador, and I don't know if I'm going to get this correct with all the numbers and such at this stage of the
Mm.
wine route.
I just found
Um,
that survival channel. I've just shared it in the comments. So if anyone wants to like binge on crazy recreated survival stories, just go to that channel Wonder and watch them. They're amazing. Sorry, go on, Alvarez.
yeah, man, this guy Alvarez. I'll Google him just to get the right amount of days. Um, Alvarez
Alvarez.
lost at sea. Because his book is amazing, right? Jose Salvador Alvarenga. That's it, Alvarenga.
I'm
And
gonna
he was a
Google.
fisherman who was lost at sea for. He was found in the Marshall Islands, and 14 months he was lost at sea for.
Found him. Wow.
And his story is insane, man. And I was reading that when I was on the boat. I don't know if that was the correct literature to be reading while I'm like in open water. Like,
Well,
but
that's
I
funny
thought,
because I watched the disaster of the plane crash for the Andes on my flight to LA. It's like I'm literally like tempting fate here. But yeah, that it's funny that it's maybe sort of morbid curiosity within us.
or preparing yourself, man, mentally or physically for something that could possibly happen. I mean, they say that when you go into a plane, you consciously taking where the exits are, and make an escape plan. Your chances of survival are fucking go way
It's
up,
quite
man. You know
small.
what I mean?
Well,
Um,
yeah. But on a plane, that's the horrible thing, isn't it? It's like, well, if something seriously goes wrong, fundamentally, it's gonna crash.
I think like fundamentally when you're on a plane, I mean, I've been on a few flights, and my younger brother has bad. He used to have hate flight. He hates flying now, but he used to get hypnotism to help him fly because he was he was golfing, for Great Britain, for the country, so he's going around international. He's away to Japan, he's away here and there, the USA, and Europe and stuff like that. And he just developed such a fear of flying. Just like, I think it's just,
It's understandable. Like
that kind of control thing,
Like even when I look out my window and I see a plane flying over just through the sky, and I still to this day kind of look up at it and go, "There's like 200 folk in there. That's mental." And they're just flying. I try and imagine what it would look like if you could just see through all the metal of the plane and you just seen like 200 bodies just flying through the air. How weird that would be,
mate. Imagine that though. I mean, I've often thought this, and I think they have made these planes where they have like sky roofs, where the ceiling is transparent to an extent, and you can see right through, which would freak a lot of people out. I mean, if you're like thrill seeker, say the plane through the full of thrill seekers, that's maybe cool, but you can see the sky whipping past you like, we're looking, nah, you're all right, man. I don't want to see through plane. Please put me in a VR unit, make me feel like I'm in a fucking sauna. Somewhere safe, put me in a womb, put me in a fucking womb. Like, God damn it. Not in this like
a VR womb, please.
Fuselage of fear.
Mate, I don't know. I went on one of those glass bottom boats once. I swear to God, I've seen nothing.
Oh, they're great. Love them.
I got told I was going to see everything: dolphins, fish, octopus.
Oh, you get nothing. Where was this?
Zero. Where was I? I was quite young at the time. We were in Gran Canaria.
Cool, man.
For a holiday. It was around December too. I remember it being kind of weird because it's like palm trees, but like with tinsel on them.
Right. Yeah, that is kind of strange. The kind of I was in Portugal near Christmas, like a couple of years ago, and it was like all the Christmas decorations near all this sort of sandy beachy stuff, and it's just weird to look at,
When I last seen you, I think we were in Stramash, and you were. Well, I remember just like, I don't know what happened. Maybe we could talk about it a bit. But I remember just being like, "Whoa, Chris is fucking on it right now," and you were like kicking fucking ass, like. And I remember seeing you play like Binkies and Stramash, and like occasionally, what it's like when you're in a band for loads of years and stuff. You have those like year or two, or even just a few months where you're just like totally on form, just kicking ass and like just really enjoying it and stuff. And I remember seeing you towards like just before. I think it was just before all this happened, and like it was just a nice time, eh? Like, how are you feeling about all the music and stuff? Have you been working away on things? Are you keen to get fucking back at it once we're let out?
Oh man, with the Moanin Bones is such a vehicle. That was basically we kind of. I mean, to be honest. We went without a direction. We sort of kind of started to have a bit of fun, and then our direction started to get a little bit mystified. In my point of view, to be honest, like we've taken a bit of a turn. We've changed drummers. At the moment, we're rehearsing a new sort of cover set to go forward. We're not really doing much in the way of original stuff. To be honest, man, when the lockdown came in, like after the band, we've been doing so much with the band and getting like gigs here, gigs there, doing this, doing that. We had the interest from Glastonbury that sort of fell through. Like Michael Eavis turned up at Whistle Binkies when we had a gig randomly. Like,
is he a Glasgow dude? Is he, Michael?
Oh, Michael Eavis is the guy that owns the site of Glastonbury. He's the man with the Amish.
Oh.
you know the man. So
right,
he's the man. So he spoke to Ryan Bonnyman, He's the bass player,
Mate, that's fucking
Moanin
cool.
Bones. And Ryan clocked him straight away, and I saw him, but I was like, nah, I've got to get ready for this gig. Ryan's talking to him. This is fucking cool. This is mental, you know.
Yeah.
And he's chatting away to him, and eventually, after the first 3 songs, Evis left, and gave us a sort of wave, whatnot. And a couple of weeks later, I was playing a little solo gig in the old, what was it, the old 100 or whatever it is, that wee bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an email through from Ollie Watson and Dave McGowan from Binkies saying, "Oh, Michael Eavis wants you to play in Glastonbury." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Holy shit.
But there was just more of a, I suppose they were sort of interested, and we had nothing online at the time. We had no presence online. We just sort of started, man. We're just figuring the thing out.
I love that though. You know, that's literally what it's all about. You know, when people say, "Oh, you don't know you don't know who'll be in the crowd," and you're like, even if there's one person there, you play your fucking heart out because, like, could be Michael Eavis sitting there. That is so cool. So, Jink,
Well,
do you think
man, you know yourself.
he'll get you
Sorry,
back once Glasgow's kicked off again? I'm sure you can
uh,
probably send him a
I don't
tweet or two
know.
and remind him, mate. Easily done.
I don't know. We've got a contact that we can maybe use, but like we can maybe have fallen into the ether. It might have been a sort of like kind of thing at the moment, sort of
I
thing.
don't know. You could rekindle.
But,
You could rekindle that if he was interested enough to mention a Binkies. Then he'll absolutely remember you if you make the effort, and he'll probably appreciate it. He'll probably be like, yeah, cool. That's how it's, because that's how it's done as well. You need to get folks' attention.
No, I absolutely. I mean, to be honest though, like the way that it's going, man, or the way that it's from the lockdown perspective, like after that came in, we're not allowed to do gigs, not allowed to see each other. Like Alex, lead guitar, and Ryan is on the bass. They also have a band called the Magic Grass. I don't know if you heard of them.
I haven't. No.
So check them out, man. The Magic Grass. Get that checked out.
Grass.
They've been well, Ryan, my mate, the bass player in the Moanin Bones, fantastic songwriter. You know, he's an encyclopedia when it comes to like talking about music and stuff, man. I feel like I have to do my homework. Seriously, it's like the guy is very. It can be, but he's humble. He's humble to the people.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, no, a great friend of mine, lovely man, and he's just he's got such a good work rate. You know, it's a very inspirational thing. Like himself and Alex, these guys are just after it when it comes to music. You know, and for me, when the lockdown came in, I was just like using this opportunity to take a break, man. I decided to sort of play some golf, learn some, get the golf swing sorted out. You know, just take a breather from the whole vibe because it was getting kind of. To the point where I needed a break, you know.
Did you just go like the driving range, or were you trying to like score in the like? Did you go to a golf course?
Oh, mate. Well, as I was saying, my brother's he was near professional golfer, so it's sort of a family thing for me. Like my dad's a golfer through the fact I think he wanted to maybe impress my mum's dad, my granddad.
What a funny sport though, eh?
It's such a weird thing.
This tiny wee ball across this like nicely cut grass.
Man, I love Robin Williams. Robin Williams' explanation or his little thing about golf is amazing. You have to look at that if you've not seen it. It's just hilarious. It's Robin Williams
is all part of his Scottish sketch, isn't it? Really, because he's on
about
being in Scotland and drinking whiskey.
Yeah, man, it's right at the end of that. I think like it's tremendous. He hits the nail on the head. But I mean, it's one of these games.
I'll just find the link and I'll share it.
Oh, mate, do it like. But it's like
little to no effort. So let's do it. Yeah, I found that survival channel for you, mate. I've shared that for you.
Sweet, I'll check that out. But have you ever heard about that plane crash? I know this is a little morbid.
Which one? The one in the Andes with the I think it was a football team.
No, not this one. This is that's a mad one. I actually flew on that flight path. I
Here we go,
think.
people. Robin Williams golf sketch for you if you want to watch it.
Oh mate, yeah, amazing.
But yeah,
But
so
yeah,
what one are you on about?
the it's the I was watching it recently. It was from New Zealand, and they were searching, or they were sightseeing Antarctica. It's called Erebus or Erebus, and which is basically the name of the mountain in Antarctica that this plane flew into because the weather had changed and they couldn't see it. And the
Holy
weird
shit.
thing, I don't get how they couldn't see the mountain, but this plane flew into the mountain. Over 200 people died, and then they send in a recovery team to kind of go in and bag everyone, tag everyone, clear the thing up, sort the mess out, basically. And mate, it's harrowing. It's harrowing, man. I don't know. I think just
no survivors at all. I take it.
no survivors whatsoever, mate. None.
Whoa,
Absolutely none. They flew.
Fuck.
They smashed into Antarctica. I mean, the temperatures alone, but I don't know how bad the impact was. I mean, they're flying at the side of a mountain.
I guess I know it sounds strange to be like, is there survivors? But like that Andy's plane crash, like that's. I mean, there's a few retellings of that. There's quite a good film about it, and the documentaries about it are all good as well. But like, I mean, they crashed. They were lucky. Like the part of the fuselage like didn't roll off this cliff. It gave them some warmth and like some supplies for a while. But really, like the guy that finally went off and actually got help.
Are you talking about Alive, man?
I don't know, that there might be called that.
Is this the Argentinian rugby team?
Yeah, and like it's like one dude
right.
literally walked like hundreds of miles through the mountains and found like a Sherpa who was like eating. He says he remember that one of the bits I remember the most is like when he he was walked for days and days and days, and he's like, if I don't make it, everyone up on that mountain's dead, like everyone. And so all those survivors were relying on him. He just kept walking for days. Finally, he gets out of the snow down to like he's like crawling like along the ground, and he sees this like Sherpa, like almost like Native American looking type person, who's just like eating this cheese, and he says his like eyes just homed in on the cheese and was just like, oh my god, I need to eat that cheese. It was like cheese and bread, and he says like, and he got his attention, and then eventually like they managed to get a team out and they saved everyone up on the mountain. But like, whoa, what a story! That's like, and it has so many ups and downs. That's there's something even binge watching all those survival stories on that Wonder channel. It's like there's like a, whether you like it or not, if you end up one of these people that are in one of these survival stories, there's like a tick list of things that are going to happen to you once the shit goes and hits the fan. So like one of them that always happens is like the helicopter or the boat or the car, like very close to when they've just been like marooned or like left for dead, will come very close and they will just about get seen, but then all that hope fades. And that happens.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's so brutal. And that's the thing, the psychological torment. Like when you've got like that moment, when like, what is it, Open Water? Have you seen Open Water, the movie?
No, that's another one. Oh, mate, this is great. I'm getting loads of stuff to watch.
This is an older film, like, and it's about this couple that go on a little diving trip, I think, in Mexico, and they get left in the open water and they swim away because their names aren't on the register for some reason. I don't know fucking why.
That's got to be the worst, though, right? Like open sea. Oh my god, just for days at a time,
mate. No. It's freaky. Like, see, when we had open water, we were on the going back to the yacht, going back to the fucking San Blas yacht, man. I love this. Going back to the yacht vibe, it's bringing me back. It was beautiful, man. It was like, I remember we could see the sunrise. We could see the sunset behind us and the moonrise in front of us, and there was no land around us at all, just the water. And just as soon as that happened, I remember, I shit you not, man, I shit you not. I said, all we fucking need now is dolphins.
Did they come?
And they came.
Yes. Amazing. You know,
We got
sometimes the
we
universe
got
plays
three
ball.
dolphins, man. We got three
That's very
dolphins.
cool. Wow. You know, man, what was it like
It's
seeing
beautiful.
dolphins in the wild like that? Like, cause that
I
man, that's
mean,
so cool.
whenever you see anything in the wild that's like a large animal, you kind of get a bit intimidated because you're in their vibe, you're in their zone, you know. So you kind of feel like, how should I, what do I, like, there's all these like, but I think like, I mean, shamefully enough, I went to the Discovery Cove in this Florida.
In Orlando, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of British families have gone there. Obviously years and years back, but
Mhm.
um, yeah. How did you find that?
Well, I went with my mum. We were there. We went over, me, my mum, my dad, Jamie, my younger brother. He's special needs, and basically it was like they're going to go over there with Jamie to visit family. We had family over there, auntie and uncle and stuff, and they invited me to come over to just in general. But I was helping out with Jamie and whatnot. We went to Disney World, and
Amazing.
it was all fun and games, man. And then it was like, okay, you and your mum have a day out. Mum wants to go and swim with dolphins. So it was just a sort of vibe, you know? It was just a sort of thing that people, oh, swim with dolphins. You sort of just think, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
we went to Discovery Cove, and it was like the sort of sanctuary. You go around a place you can swim around with like big stingrays without the stinger, taking all the stingers away. And through this bit where you've got like, you're kind of swimming through this thing that's got like a water flow, and then every so often there's like a kind of zone where you get out and there's a deer or a kookaburra or something, and then you carry on. And you have to have like there's a window for swimming with the dolphins. I think it was like, our appointment with the dolphins is at 2:35. You know, it's like cool. And you go out and it's like you're with a group of people and you get the dolphin, you kiss the dolphin, and then you like I got a dolphin toe, so like I'm holding on to the thing, and they're big fucking things, man. They're a lot bigger than you think they are. Like they're huge, man. And
I
yeah,
they're quite rubbery. I went to SeaWorld when I was a kid as well. And yeah, it's like so I find it like we were on about those documentaries earlier. And the guy. It's
uh,
like I find I've personally invested my money in fucking those animals up, you know, and I feel guilty about it but again, it's like that tourist trap. You know, you go over there and it feels very normal to go see the whale. You know,
same in Thailand,
Shamu,
man.
fucking
Same,
Shamu, and
see,
like I
yeah,
just it
yeah,
makes
yeah.
I make I mean, like, it makes me so upset thinking about them. Like, I hope they're all like. I mean, SeaWorld basically like they've like was the attack against them successful? Because obviously this other guy's on about Marine World and like, but knowing America, it's probably just like a company that bought the company that bought the company, so they're probably all somehow related. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, they're putting out so many bills now for like people keeping big cats. Like after watching what the
Oh, the
fuck?
tiger thing.
Yeah, man, that was amazing. That was
Captain Mark.
just so well timed for entertainment. I have to say, I know everyone got into it, but it was really well timed. If you watched it as soon as it came out, I
It's
was
great.
hooked. It was such a distraction, man.
It was just like I need like at least our life's not this crazy.
Oh,
You know,
dude,
it's like he was one of the only people that had a crazier life than everyone else on the planet at that point. Like, thank God.
just when it came at the point where his lover shot himself and that, and the boy sitting in the office watching, I was like, the fuck, man. It was just so dramatic with the big
Up,
cats as a backdrop.
up and down, up
Joe
and
fucking
down.
exotic. Jesus.
It's a good example of like, because like I don't know, a good documentary like is told so well that you fall in love with the characters, the same way you do like a fictional story. But then also you're like you have this moral quandary, you know, because you love them because of their character, but like you're also like, well, you keep cats in cages. Like you're just fundamentally an asshole for trying to do that.
Well, this
Or
is
like
it. I mean, what is the whole thing? Like the zoo, the idea of the zoo, you know, let's let's show the animals to the people so they care more about the animals. Okay. Show the animals in a cage so they care more about the animals. Let's like, I mean, how many times I've been to the zoo, Edinburgh Zoo, a few times, like, and they've got the
Impressive,
panda thing. I mean, I remember when I was younger and they had the lizard thing. And that's gone now. Don't know where that's gone. That was great. But like, we had a pass. I think we got for Christmas one year. We got like a zoo pass. I think we loved going to the zoo that much. My uncle gave us like a zoo pass for the year. Yeah, it was, Edinburgh Zoo. It's all up a hill.
yeah.
But have you been to many zoos, man? And because the animals are
Yeah.
just like sort of sleeping, eh? They're not really doing anything, and you kind of as a kid, you do sort of feel a sense of like, this isn't fucking
Strange.
right, man. Like,
Yeah, I don't
like,
know. There's a time and a place for certain types of zoos, and definitely for animals that can't be reintroduced back into the wild. They need to be captivity in places that are big and nice for animals. But yeah, I went when I was very little. My parents took me to Australia. Like I said, friends over there that we got to go visit, and we stayed over there for about a month, maybe over a month. And we went when we got there. Initially, we went to Sydney, and we sort of went to, I believe it was the Steve Irwin Zoo, like the Sydney Zoo, or he had a part to do with its creation. And it's a lot more about conservation and stuff out there. Obviously, they've got the climate that can deal with all these different exotic animals and stuff. They can have outdoor enclosures, which are actually quite spacious.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's all about it. Really, they really push the education part of it. And yeah, I think certain zoos have got they channel the money into the right places. And it, but obviously, business is business. Eventually, you're going to get that guy that inherits something that he doesn't care about, and he just looks at the finance number at the bottom line, and and that sort of thing happens all the time as well. You might have a very caring family that look after a zoo for years, and then it falls into the hands of the wrong person, and then yeah.
Well, you've got that Chinese situation in the shopping mall where you've
What's
got
that?
the saddest polar bear in the world.
Oh mate, oh no.
I know. Her name is Pizza. That makes it even
Oh
worse. You hear what her name
man.
is. She has a name. Her name is Pizza. Why? Oh, Pizza. But yeah, so this fucking polar bear, I don't know if it's still there. This is a while back. But it's like in a shopping center, folk can walk past and have a look at it. And it's just in
No.
a fucking tight enclosure, you
It's
know?
great night. I can't do it. Like, what I was thinking though, what would be quite nice? Maybe we could do this together, Chris. Like, because I was thinking, we can't play to humans right now, all that necessarily. Even when we can play to humans again, like we kind of hog all the music. It would maybe kind of cool to like book a tour of like animal sanctuaries around the world, and literally just rock up to like Thailand and just play to like 50 elephants. And then next day we're like, I wish we could stay, but we gotta go do the flamingos tomorrow, and then next Friday we're playing to like 5,000 bison on the plains of Africa. How cool would that be? I
Mate, you
want
know
to
what? You know the biggest
Are you
gig
up for
would
it? Do you want to
be.
organize it with me?
Do you know what
Just
the
like,
biggest gig would be? The Caribou would be the biggest gig, man.
oh, like fuck Metallica playing to a million Russians. Like, we'll play to like 5 million caribou. Why do we get all the music? That's what I'm saying. Like, screw it. Stick like an ultrasound speaker in the sea. We'll play to the entire ocean.
But these animals, man, this is the thing. Like, we've got like robust machinations. These animals are sensitive beings. Like, the noise that we make is just gonna fucking either
I don't know.
frighten the shit out of them, like,
I've
or
got a couple of tunes I think that a whale. Or a dolphin might quite like.
mate,
They should at
I
least
need
they
to
should
hear
at least
this.
get to make up the decision for themselves.
Mm,
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy,
it's a
but
very opinionated squirrel over there that is.
he loves metal. But he just like
Oh man, have you done much hiking? Like, you're down in the borders right now, but
Yeah,
is that where you've been mostly? Have you done any hike, like any interesting sort of
yeah,
things
man.
during the lockdown yourself, man? Like,
I will like. Well, I mean, I grew up here, so I know loads of spots anyway, and so I've sort of visited a lot of my favourite spots from when I was wee over the sort of year and a half I've been back here. But I'm like right in the centre of Gala, so I can literally walk sort of 5 minutes in any direction and end up in fields. So what I'll tend to do is just like be like, there's a cairn up on that hill there. It's like 5 miles away, and I'll just walk to that and find a route. And I'll always end up finding some crazy place I've not seen before, or like some Lord of the Rings looking valley, or and then what I'll tend to do as well is like once I get there, I'll walk in a random direction because I'll really love that feeling of actually being lost,
Yeah,
and then like
man.
having to navigate your way home like with a river or something, or being like, and then eventually sort of being like, oh, here I am, and like your brain has that moment of like, ah, yeah, yeah, so this is perfect, right? And I think it's good for the brain actually to go through that. I like that feeling a lot.
Man, this is the whole thing about like you were talking earlier about the pool for why I went to Thailand and all these places.
Hmm.
And it's just that's why you do travel. That's why you travel. And you know, I've got to say, like the best way to travel is by yourself. I think the way that you have more of a transformative experience. You know, the times I was that I was by myself in Asia, like me and the guy I was traveling with, eventually sort of passed like split ways.
Yeah.
And that's when, I mean, you're never alone when you're traveling. There's always somebody around you when you're on these little tourist routes, these little flumes.
Mm.
Um, Unless you push it really far, which you can easily do. But but yeah, definitely by yourself. And seriously, like, I mean, I was stuck in life, man. I was stuck in life for a while. You know, I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I could do this and do that and get a job and blah blah blah. But like, there's this huge sort of world around you that you've never seen, and even just like going away for a few months can really like sort of make you feel like, right, I think I know what to do now when I go home. You know,
Yeah.
it's a strange one, eh? It's like that Joseph
Same.
Campbell sort of heroes vibe, circle vibe.
Yeah.
You just sort of come full circle with yourself in a way, and you have these moments of like, right now I can see it, and I can see the bigger picture. You know, I needed to just get the fuck away from everything to get to get there, but
Totally.
it's so
I,
much easier when you go away by yourself. I think like if anyone's afraid to do it, don't be afraid. You're never going to be alone. Just do it. You know.
I heard I was listening to Matthew McConaughey the other day. He's got a book out called Green Lights, and he's a very wise guy, and I love his career, and I just love
Yeah,
his
man.
attitude. I fucking love his attitude. And he was on about that, and like he would actively just like, even at points in his career where he's been really successful, like romantic comedies, and he's got all the shit going on, like everyone in Hollywood loves him, but he would actively just be like, right, I'm fucking out of here, and he'd go to a jungle or something, he'd go to an
Mm.
island, he'd go somewhere, and he says that he talked about that process, and he said like the first 10 days would be the first 10 days he'd like fucking hate himself, like can't fucking, it's just in his own mind, can't fucking figure it out, like stressed out, anxious for no reason, like, I do get like that when I go on holiday on my own. I kind of get that first week is kind of just like, oh, maybe I'll just get a flight home. Like, fucking hell, this is a bit much. Like, ah, shit, I'm out my comfort zone. I'm out my comfort zone. And then, like, he describes that transition period, and we all get it. Like, you'll have had it too. Like, you get that moment where you finally settle in to where you are, you accept it, and then you're just like, okay, I'm gonna have like an orange juice. I'm gonna do whatever I want. There's no stress. I'm in charge. Like, it's all
Mm-hmm.
good. And then like for him as an artist, and then like actually processing thoughts and just himself, like trying to be like, why am I doing these things, and why have I acted like this, and why am I feeling this way, and like he would he would just walk, and he would walk, and he would walk, and he would walk, and like he would say like, and he'd have to do those walks every day, and he said eventually he'd get to like the sort of 3 week point in these holidays, and then he was like, okay, I like myself again. I'm happy with myself. I can be with I'm okay with my own company now. Like, I don't want to fucking berate myself. Like, actually, you know what? I'm quite good. I'm quite good. Right, let's go back. And then he'll go back, and he said he had to repeat that um over and over again. He would get that itch and be like, right, I need to go and put myself out of my comfort zone for a bit. and all these different. And I would recommend go and listen to some of his podcasts he's done more recently in the last 3-4 months. He
Mm-hmm.
did this amazing speech for all the uni people that graduated in America, who obviously were. It was a very depressing image of all these guys in their gowns, literally on screens on NBC, celebrating their graduation. Like, and so Matthew McConaughey sort of took the mic and just did this super inspirational, like, you guys are going to stand out because of this. Like, you are all at home
Mm-hmm.
thinking it's shit right now, but you guys, you're the only year of people that have this. This is going to work to your advantage. And it was just like, McConaughey, mate, yes, like I need that in my life. Like, but yeah, trips. I think that do you find that you get like this initial like sort of anxiety surrounding everything, and that's also you just like maybe coming to terms with your own life back home as
Oh
well.
man.
Do you get that?
Like when I'm away.
Yeah,
Like I
and
mean, I think it's it's weird. I'm quite a go with the flow kind of guy, you know. Like and I think when you've got like a positive sort of buoyancy about yourself when you're away, you're like, hey man, what's happening? Blah 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 blah. You sort of just kind of go with things, and eventually it's not really you don't really think about it too much, and by the time you do, you're like, oh, that was a really good time. I mean, the anxiety I had, I think, when I was away was the trauma from, I think, initially my mate when he had to, the whole thing that happened with him, and losing everything, and then leaving, and then I was like, right, by myself now, and there was a moment of just like I remember emailing my mum and just being like, by myself. Me and Bob had a fallout. He tried to fly to Australia from Cambodia. I'm like, and I just remember typing this email and just crying and just being like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here, man. Well, like, I think that just catharsis just wore away. And then I went up to the hostel I was eventually staying at. I met these just fucking people that were like just amazing. Just like these English girls, like they were just drinking, having a good time. And it just all melted away. I just sort of phased into their sort of thing. Eventually, later on, we met up again. But like, and there was times in Vietnam where I just had no money and I just come out the Easy Rider tour, and there was a bit of a few days where I had no money, and it was emotionally difficult. But I wouldn't say that I'd ever had too many like crazy like I mean, I don't think I've ever been really threatened by anybody. Like
have
I
you
heard
had
of guys that were like threatened. Well, never really badly. I mean, in Cuba, there was a little scam. We got taken into from Havana. Walking around on our first day, we just bought tickets for the Buena Vista Social Club, who were playing in the place right beside us the second night, which was amazing.
hold on a fucking second? You were
Um,
in Havana and watched Buena Vista Social Club.
yeah, man. Yeah, I hope that's who they were. That's who they said they
Oh
were.
my
Like,
god, that's like bucket list. What? Like,
it was well timed. I
mate.
think it was well timed. I mean,
Oh, that
uh,
sounds marvelous. Like, wow,
mate, the
wow.
building was beautiful. It's a colonial building, so they're like sort of in the middle of the building. There's a big hollow out in the middle. Do you know the one I mean?
No,
Um,
no, no.
so right through the middle of the building, it's like a balcony. So that you got the top, the bottom floor, and then there's balconies. So the whole middle of this sort of um, this building is hollowed out, so that the ceiling's out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Of the top. I don't know how to describe this in any other way.
I,
But there's like balconies all the way around, these beautiful balconies, and people are sitting there, and you're smoking the cigars and drinking mojitos, and then the band, huge band playing away, and they invite you up to you do a conga eventually, like dancing about with them and that. But they come up and sing at your table, like it's fucking amazing, man.
wow. Hey mate, I need to pee break. I was gonna play
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I was
What I
gonna
was
say
trying
I'll
to
do that
think
too.
is like, do you want to pick a song? Maybe one of your own ones, or is there a Moanin Bones track or anything online, or like
You
it
could
needs
put
to be like
on
local or like a band we know, so don't get copyright
put
shit
on
on.
Al's Hot Pocket. Actually, yeah, Al's Hot Pocket, and then if you want to queue up a Magic Grass song, whichever one you like, probably number, I don't know, I can't remember how they number, but like put on like the third Magic Grass song, that would be cool.
Okay, we'll get this
Actually, even
going.
just put their one on. I'm bored of listening to my shit, man. Hear their stuff's much better.
Yeah, wait, I've got your one first, so we'll do that. Then we'll do Magic Grass, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Perfect, mate. Perfect. Good timing.
Cool.
I'm bursting.
Yeah, I'm like coffee and an iron brewing. I got a hot toddy. Right.
Cool.
Okay, right. We'll see you in a minute. Here's Al's Hot Pocket, everybody.
Nice one.
I bet your daddy was a holy man. Fill him up just like a watering can. Change the story, switch it all around. We'll turn that little frown upside down. The way you move is like a pile of sticks. Well, that is something that we're just gonna fix. Feel the rhythm, pull you side to side. Come on now, darling, let's go for a ride. Why do you keep me waiting all day and night? If we keep on dancing, it'll be alright. I bet your mama is the sweetest thing. She likes to cook and she just loves to sing. I see the light shining in her eyes. Now that's a feeling that you're just getting high. Your brothers, sisters, and your family tree. It's the same for both you and me. Let me take you all around the world. I got you rocking out your stocking, girl. Why do you keep me waiting all day and night? If we keep on dancing, it'll be alright. Yeah, yeah. Why do you keep me waiting all day and night? If we keep on
Uh, sorry, I just I literally just crossed the whole thing off and closed the whole thing. It's like ah.
Oh no.
Okay, we're back.
Ah,
That was
cool.
great, man. Loving the like. It's just good to hear some fucking rock and roll. You know, just desperate to hear it through some big PA. Be lovely.
It's good fun, man. I mean, we to be honest, like it's like we went out to make the Moanin Bones like sort of original music that you could really get down to, like rock and roll music. You could down on a Saturday, Saturday night. You know, it was for the weekend. There's so many bands that are amazing. You know what I mean? And that are about, but just don't fit into that sort of weekend category for getting booked. You know what I mean? So it was like, how do we just do that? You know, so that was sort of the ethos to begin with. But
So
things
how
have
do
changed
so
sort of now.
so you sort of see it like this, sort of like there's like a weekend category of bands that like I guess it's just about like this keeping the crowd in and keeping them uh sort of dancing, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, like with the music that for like for yourself, with what you're doing with your guys with the ska sort of vibe. I don't know. I wouldn't call your music really like the Seabass Kid. I wouldn't say it was exactly ska. I don't
Yeah,
know. How would you say? How would you
I
say
don't
it?
know. It's like you're kind of a victim at your label sometimes. It's like loads of people wanted to book us because we were a quote unquote ska band, and then that sort of stuff sticks to you for a bit. But anyone that does come see us, they'll realize it's just a whole bunch of different things thrown into a pot. It's kind of a cauldron.
I loved
Um,
it, man. I love doing the sound for you guys. I thought, like, I think, yeah, what I remember is just the real sort of pop culture vibe filing through, like from the sort of Kill Bill, that you do the little sort of Kill Bill sort of theme tune sort of thing, don't you, like going on?
yeah,
But yeah, man, I loved it. I loved it. It's fucking great.
I love mixing like visual movie culture with music and stuff. I think that's something that, like, to me, like the stage is like such an incredible thing, even as an idea. I know I fucking go about this all the time, but um, like I feel like our stages aren't used as well as they used to be sometimes, and like often it's a case of like the bands that are on them even don't maybe feel like they're good enough to fill the stage in that particular way. But I remember seeing it was when I was a teenager, right? I was at the Corn Exchange and I watched Razorlight play at the Corn Exchange. And I remember there was this 2 or 3 summers of just spending all my cash on Tea and the Fringe tickets. And me and my mate would get the X95 up after school, or we'd bunk off and get the bus up and go watch a band at the Corn Exchange or Liquid Rooms or whatever. But it was the Razorlight gig, weirdly. I don't like all that much, but the ticket was like 13 quid or something. It's like, what are you going to do? Went to see Razorlight, and they did this. They used a curtain, right? And it was like curtain's like the oldest stage implement ever, right? But it was a white curtain, and it was draped in front, like, and no other bands had this, you know. So this curtain was drawn after the support band played, and the anticipation that just built up, like their silhouettes as they came out, they started plugging in their instruments, and you knew, like, just by that curtain being there, you knew at some point it was going to drop, and everything was going to go fucking rage, and and everyone knew it, but it was just because the curtain was there, you know. It was just this curtain caused that anticipation, and that's just one implement of a stage show that like really can add so much to the just to the fucking the atmosphere of the place. And so like I've been trying to use more of those types of things in shows, and just watching more stuff like that and being like, how do you engage people um on the stage over and on top of like the actual songs and music you're playing.
Well, I mean, this is it. Like, I think that first and foremost, what you're doing, you have to enjoy what you're doing, what you're putting out there. You've got to really honestly get behind your tunes. They have to be something that you're just completely in bed with, you know. Um, even like any doubts can creep in, but you just need to get them out there. You need to like figure it out, because after that it can just be a performance thing, you know, like with the Moanin Bones, especially like the gigs that we played, like it almost goes like too far, just even if there's like no audience there, you know, you just kind of, you go, fuck it, I'll just go for try this windmill thing that Pete Townsend did, just like do that, you know, why not? No, like it's like a bit of movement. There's I think that it's always important to move around. For me, like a visual thing, like as a sound engineer, you know, you get great bands, really great sounding bands, but it's like, guys, come on, you don't look like you give a fuck, or you're maybe, and that's fine, that's the way that they play, but of course they care. What am I talking about? But like, you know what I mean? They just, I like to see some fire in a performance, like, you know, and some
I think it's
movement
a lot about
visually,
finding,
you know.
like, because I know what you mean. It's like, come on, like I see it, but also it's like it took me years and years and years to the point where I felt like I could sort of play on the stage, like the anxiety of the stage had worn off enough that I could start to breathe a bit and look a bit around and see what was happening and how things could improve visually or movement. And but honest, it took years before I could get out of that blinkered, oh, I'm on the stage. Like,
Man, I have to say,
focus,
actually,
man, focus.
just thinking about it though, I think the anxiety and the performance can go hand in hand. I think it's actually harder to be to do like just sit and like a folk song, you know, tell the story, explain stuff, you know, be very audible, be very articulate to your audience, whether they listen or not. You can't, you know, I think that's so difficult, rather than just going, right, oh, here we go, rah, you know, like what I do, like fucking like, it's like, these people are like really taking an audience in, you know, they're really and I love storytelling, man. I love mythology. I love the whole idea of storytelling being passed down from generation to generation, and it having this sort of I don't know, something that gives us a bit of solace, you know, gives us a bit of vitality, gives us lessons and whatnot, you know. I mean, so like, but yeah, it's hard. I think it's harder. I remember seeing Steve Earle. Do you know Steve Earle? You a fan of Steve Earle, man?
Yeah.
Saw him in Glasgow in the big concert hall just there at Buchanan Street, and it's just him on the stage. Loads of people sitting in this big hall, and I remember we'd had a few drinks that night, but not too many. It wasn't to the point of like, I fucking love you, but it was definitely. I was like, it was emotional, man. You know what I mean? I definitely had a tear come in my eye, you know, from like just the whole vibe. I mean, Fort Worth Blues, he after Towns passed away, that was a big thing for him and Towns Van Sant, I think, like, you know, that song. But that is one that's always stuck with me. I love that old sort of outlaw folk, you know. Love that stuff, man. It's tremendous.
There's a guy, like for me, coming up here music wise in the borders, like the storytelling thing's huge and part of the folk scene. And there's a gig down here called the String Jam Club, which Ali Fox runs.
Cool.
Used to be in the Salmon and Gala for over a decade, maybe longer. And they switched. They're now in the county in Selkirk, I think still. And it's the scariest gig you'll do in your life. Like, and they'll get open mic, they'll sort of give 3 or 4 slots at the beginning of the night to locals, so you get to play 2 or 3 year tracks, and you get to hear sort of a pin drop. Everyone in that audience is listening to every single note, like, and they'll shush people that come in that are like talking and that, like, it's that sort of gig.
Wait, so you still have gigs where you are? There's still live music?
No, I'm just on about like over the many years that I've been doing music, I've gone to these gigs in Selkirk or Gala, and it's a good place to cut your teeth. It's the scariest gig you'll do, you know, 3 tracks to a completely silent music crowd. Very scary. And so I'll do that once a year, tend to do that once a year just to keep me on my toes. But yeah, the the point I was making was like this guy I seen when I was a teenager coming up, watching him at the String Jam Club, was called Martin Stevenson. And he was in a very famous band called the Dainties, I think, for a while, but he now just does his own stuff mainly and tours all around. I seen him at Glastonbury one year, and he's a lovely dude. I think from Newcastle or just south of here.
Mm-hmm.
And he would take like, I don't know, sometimes 20 minutes, 25 minutes to introduce a song. And I had never experienced this before in my life. And I see some people do it to this day, but it's a folk tradition. But like, honestly,
This is it. It's almost like the whole song is about this. It's like most of the song is basically about the explanation. Is that right? Like to some point,
totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's this mixture, and that's how myths and legends and legacies, all sort of like folk tales. Even that's how it's done. Is this sort of synergy and like different people telling it at different times in the context of the world at the time, helping tell the story itself and all that shit. But I love it, and I try and incorporate that even into, and I struggle, even I forget to do it sometimes, but try and incorporate that storytelling aspect of songs. Because I find when I do that, when I take a bit extra time, even if it's 10, 20 seconds to introduce a track and say, here's the background slightly on it, folk will go a lot more, we'll get into it a lot more, and I do notice it over the course of like playing like that. I think that's one of the cool things that we have as Edinburgh people with Stramash and Binkies. Is you have these places that you can regularly play and get paid and cut your teeth and get to play to really decent crowds, and you get to test your set with like blank canvases. It's not the same people coming every single week in these places. It's international. You're getting to play in front of folk from all over the world. So it's a great testing pot for, just putting a stage show together. And then once you've like, you could get the stage show fucking absolutely raring somewhere like that, and then hit the road. We are very lucky to have these places.
Man, like Binky's, Stramash, they offer this grassroots thing. They just, if it wasn't there, it would just be such a void. You're absolutely right. I mean, and even though most of the time people aren't really listening, they're just there drinking and that. And this is something we need to get over. I have had some great nights. Tuesday nights in Whistle Winky's, just a 2-piece thing where the everybody there is just like, as you said, very like just so like sucked in to the point where you're just like, wow, I need to like up my game here, because they're like, this crowd is like here and they're quiet between songs. Not like it's a strange sensation sometimes. You almost feel like embarrassed. I don't know if you ever had that moment of when I don't know if this is a thing, but like when you get huge applause and you feel embarrassed by it.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of sort of weird feelings goes on at different points. Embarrassment is one of them. I think you're right. Yeah.
It's weird. I've not had it. I've not had it much. I've had it once or twice that I can really remember. But like just being like, I don't know if it was because I was hungover as fuck and I was playing this song and I had something on my mind and I just got it out as a therapeutic thing, because I find music, like especially in a performance thing, without all the sort of razzmatazz, it's therapy for me, man. Like, like being able to get something out there, it's like acceptable soapbox, it's like, I don't know, you just get so much out of it, you know what I mean? Like from that, whatever, if it's primal scream sort of thing. But like, it's always been a therapeutic thing for me, always.
I think it's like, we forget that sometimes. Like it's like this. It's literally like a culture processor. Music, and like the art that resonates with us most and becomes most timeless is art that is like resonated within the culture and within the context of the time it was written. People like Jimi Hendrix and Bob Marley, and like those are like the sort of top of the pyramid examples of people that resonated within the time, and their music completely was like an example of that culture during those time periods. And so it gives it all that much more power. Even when you look more modern days times, like people like Eminem that just come, like, here comes this sound, it's fucking cool, it's like hip hop with Dre attached, but then all his lyrical content is like culturally relevant. And like not only that, he's sort of like he's using it as a platform to like fight back at the culture that's attacking him. It becomes this feedback loop of culture and politics, and like those become moments in music that just like become bigger than what they even maybe were trying to set out to do in the first place.
I mean,
love that.
this,
I love that
but
shit, man.
in,
It
in this day and
fascinates me.
age, but like, what do we have in musical ways of like counterculture in this day and age? I mean, Stormzy maybe, like Stormzy's the man.
He's a lad. Yeah.
But like, it just seems to be so swallowed by the volume of availability of things. People there's so much access that there's just almost just no way for a movement. You know, there's no way for any way to go any way. You know,
I don't know. I think
it's mad. Like, you know, it's like, but
I think
there's
that's
never going to be a Beatles. There's never going to be another Beatlemania, I reckon. Like,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think there's
Like
ever going to be a band as big as the Beatles and that how they profoundly changed things. You know what I mean? In that sort of way, it's music has changed, man. You know?
yeah. No, I hear you. Although I used to say that all the time as well. I was thinking about it more recently, and I'm thinking, well, okay, that might be the case. All the same, there's this thing called the internet that's basically still a toddler, and it's still fucking the world up in loads of crazy ways, all like every day. So that like, if if there was to be a band bigger than the Beatles, the only thing that's going to achieve that is probably something like the internet that has us all connected. Um, whether it wouldn't be the same. Obviously, the medium, the culture, the way that you access that information in general is totally different. All the same, I feel like even though like all the opportunities have kind of been spread out, and like there's less chance for that sort of like, those bands that made millions on albums in the 90s and stuff, the last few people to really fucking tour an album and make tons on the label, like those days are well and truly over. But if you're like in charge of your own content, you create your own fan base, then like the power now lies in the hands of the content creator. And even Joe Rogan proved that when he went to Spotify and stuff. And like I've looked into that sort of world, and it's controversial in ways, but all the same, it's like changed the music business side of things massively.
But
In
for
the
a
eyes of,
band to
yeah,
be like completely like being on every trend, like setting the trend without just being a fad. This is the fad. This is these guys this day. This is this guy this day. You know, this is kind of how it feels. It doesn't feel like there's a band that's consistently just kind of this is it, this is us, this is us, this is us. Like maybe it was back in the day. Like obviously you got a
I feel
multitude
like,
of acts, but like
what about
it's
Idol?
like it made that's it. Like, you know, they talk about who has the pick of destiny. And a friend of mine, I was like, who holds the pick of destiny? And he's like, Jack White. Jack White holds the pick of destiny. I'm
Maybe
like,
it does.
okay, that's fair enough. But yeah, it's like, this is the thing. This is the way the music is. It's becoming such a pastime commodity to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, which is, I hate to say it.
I don't know. I just think that
Um,
with all that out there, if you're actually really fucking talented, you're going to shine. You know,
Yeah, man. But for how
because
long?
I feel like
Because you've got people that shine and they shine for
I
that
think
time, but to shine constantly,
nah,
that's
it's
and the way that we eat things up, the way that we eat things up in the way that we do, you know, like
the
24-hour
thing is though, it's
news,
like
you got to post things constantly. It's a hard life. You gotta be
if you
on it.
want to make if you want to make the money nowadays, like just pragmatically, like you want to have merch and you want to be able you want to have exposure enough that you can go sell that merch in different places in the world. And so it becomes a numbers game at that point, really a business thing. It's like, well, how many people are in the band? Is it just me? Is there four? Is there two? Like, how much will it cost to go to these places? Like, how's my network there? Do I know a lot
Yeah.
of folk there? Can I connect a lot of gigs and actually make it worth my while? Like, if I get a fucking little piece in Rolling Stone, and it's like, how much can I charge then? And then like it's just this rolling game. What it's about is like starting that momentum, and it's like what ends up stopping loads of bands I see is like they get the momentum going, and then they miss a few opportunities because of logistical reasons, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then they can't make the most, or like they get down because they're like, fuck, right, we missed out on that. But like, okay, well, it's hard to get the fucking. But when you have that project that you're 100% like, we can go on tour, we can go do this opportunity. There's nothing in the way of the momentum train. That's when you see a band really fucking pick up the gears and start to like be like, okay, well, it's not even about money. It's just about where we play. We'll take
Man,
our merch. We know this business works. It works, you
we
know.
put
But
so much
like,
pressure on
put a
ourselves.
good
Like,
fucking show on. You know, it's a good show, and sell a t-shirt.
yeah, man. I mean, this is it. We put so much pressure on ourselves as well to sort of like, I'm not happy. I don't know. Every artist, I suppose, they're never really happy with their completely happy with their work as well. So it can be a hard one. But I reckon that the way forward, man, the game is just changing. The game is just always changing, And I think the way we got to look at it is to combine, possibly even look at the backpacker situation with obviously these bands have done it before. I'm saying nothing new, but like you like going away on tours that you use as a backpacking experience as well, like going to Morocco, for example, and you go tour, you do hiking over the Atlas Mountains, and you go Essaouira, you do little gigs here, you film your sort of shit as you go, you're
like
getting content as you move, and what else, obviously right now it's not easy do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I reckon that when it comes to touring, this is the kind of shit that people are going to pick up on. Like, I don't know if you are a fan of, I don't know, you like follow bloggers on the on YouTube that do little tours. There's one guy called Gabriel. You ever watch him? You ever see him? This guy, Gabriel. Man, I watched this guy fucking before I went traveling, and he's just this dude by himself, fucking walking around the world, going here, going there. And he's not the most interesting man in the world, he's pretty dull, but he's interested.
Captivating. That's what I love about YouTube, is like, no matter what you're into, you can find some individual out there that you kind of resonate with that can tell you about it. It's fucking awesome.
Oh man, like, absolutely. I mean, this guy, he gives you the dull information that you kind of need, but like, he's just walking about with a little fucking camera and going like, here's here and here's there, and this is my day in Egypt, and here's my day here, and walking here and walking there. Like, exactly. I would, before I went to places, I would definitely watch these things and get an idea, because like, I don't know about yourself, traveling and whatnot, but like, I like to sort of map out the route and know, like, when I'm going to get into a place, how I get out, how do I get the bus here, how much does the bus cost? I know constantly things are changing. This is a problem with like Lonely Planet books. They're made, and then 3 years later the prices are all fucking inflated, and everything's changed, and the guy isn't in the hostel anymore. So you go to the green banana, and it's not the green banana anymore, it's called the purple pineapple, and there's no fucking room for you, pal. I
was told this was the green banana. No, sorry, purple pineapple.
Exactly, man. Exactly. You're like, you're kind of, this is the thing. So when you're like travel blogger, you need to do it like constantly, update stuff. There's a couple that I watched that were stuck in the Philippines for the coronavirus, and this lad, there must
be so many stories like that, right? Where like, I heard there was a whole music festival got stuck.
Anyway, oh wow, right?
Where about? On an island, yeah. It was like in Costa Rica. I think they were there for 4 or 5 months in the end. It was really,
and they got stuck. That's actually insane. Like, so they had to like ship out food and water to all these people to keep them alive, and quarantined on the island.
Some of the embassies came and saved their people, but there was like a whole bunch of Americans just got left on these islands.
Fuck.
good luck. And it got to the point where I think Vice did an hour-long, like, shocking report on it.
Mate, I need
Anyway,
to
sorry,
see that. That's cool, man.
go on.
Shit, I forgot what I was talking about. I was just imagining being in a
Sorry,
festival.
you're on about the Philippines. Some people got stuck because of COVID.
Yeah, it was just I was just following this like couple that could kind of got stuck, and it's like their sort of encounter of like, or their sort of like story of, you know, these daily blogs, you know, of being stuck in the Philippines, and we can get this and we can do that, and this guy, you know, he's just his girlfriend is on it at the front of every video. She's absolutely gorgeous, you know. I mean, she definitely is why I pressed what is this initially. But yeah, man, they were stuck for a while.
A well-picked thumbnail goes a long way these days, I guess.
It does, man. You get sucked in so easily. Sometimes it's like they don't even, like nowadays, especially on YouTube news, they don't even finish the end of the fucking headline. So it's like, there was a fire in the, and you're like, in the fucking what? like, in the fucking what, pal? And you want to know. You fucking want to know. There was a fire in the, and then you go on it, the bucket, and you're, oh, can't.
I know, mate. I've got no time. Like, if they're like, "Oh, you're using an ad blocker," I'm like, "Well, see you later then."
Oh man,
sorry, I will not be going to your website. Sorry, no, I don't like. I don't know, man. Is there any place like I haven't actually visited the East. Like, I mean, I've gone to a few different places in my life. My mum and dad have taken me very grateful. I've been taken a lot of places through my life, but not gone to the East. I would love to go to see India, like Thailand, do all that. So that's definitely high on my hit list for.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'm up for.
Like, if it was like, because like I'm literally a virgin to that part of the world. What would you say is like a good way? Like, say I had 10 weeks, like a good amount of time to hit that part of the world.
What, Southeast Asia?
Yeah, like, I'm not saying the perfect route, but what do you think would be a nice route to take if you had like sort of 10 weeks? And I'm chill, mate.
What do you want to do
for 3-4 days at a time? I'm not too bothered about quantity.
Do you like jungle or beaches?
Jungle.
So you probably want to you're going to fly into Bangkok. That's where you fly into from everywhere. And then if it's Thailand, you're going to. But I mean, shit, man, there's jungle everywhere. I mean, I've never been to Chiang Mai. So this is like, I would say that's where you go for your jungle treks up Chiang Mai, up the north. Like, have you actually, this brings me into a weird funny travel story. If you so have you ever heard of the mole moth?
No. Is that like a myth?
This is an insect, and it should be a fucking myth, man. The mole moth. So this creature from hell, basically what it does is it burrows into a warm place, to whatever it is, to find sanctuary. But it's a dirty, big motherfucking thing, man. Like, you know, yeah, Chiang Mai, yeah. I've never been there, so I can't really say too much about it. But this thing, the mole moth,
yeah, keep going.
is a bitch of an insect. Like, basically, I heard about it. I was in Cambodia, man. I was in Siem Reap, and we went to this swimming pool bar. And the thing is, like, the place we're staying, the hostel we're staying, all the showers we were taking were like rusty fucking showers, man. It was like dusty. You didn't really feel clean, you know. You didn't feel clean. You kind of felt a little bit like every day. You just didn't really feel properly cleansed. You know, we found this swimming pool bar that was like not far away, about a mile away, in a tuk-tuk. So we went to this fucking swimming pool bar. We're there for the whole day, being this English lassie, Shelley, and my mate Tommy was from Finland. So we were just there, and it was a swimming pool around this bar. It was amazing, man. It was just so refreshing. Like, being in this pool was just like feeling like, you know, we just, you know, well, for me anyway, it was just like, oh, just such a refreshing feeling. I remember sun going away, dark was the night was setting in. There was just stars in the sky. I remember like lying on my back, like just after a few beers and whatnot, just like looking around, just feeling refreshed and amazing. And just be like, oh, the life is amazing. And then I saw this thing sort of flapping about the side of the pool. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I'm like, oh, I'll go and save this thing. It looks like it's about to die. Pick it up with my flip flop. Like, fucking, I've got a flip flop in my hand right here.
What was it?
Picked up this flip flop and I pulled it over. I took it over to the bar. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because it was a weird looking fucking thing, long, like, you know, the size of a
Mao moth.
the mole moth, like a mole, MOL. I don't know if it's MOLE or MOL and then moth as in MOTH. Mole moth. If you can find on the old, get Jamie to pull it up.
Yeah, fucking Jamie. I'm Jamie. I'm also Jamie.
But yeah, it's a dirty thing, man. So I was like, dude, what's this? And this guy was like, fucking hell, man. And he got everyone to, that's that right in the middle, that dirty insect right in the middle, a horrible looking thing. Yeah, man. Horrible mandibles, like, and the guy went, oh my God, everybody come here. So the whole bar that was there around the serene sort of situation came fucking flooding around this sort of like, to see my flip flop with this thing on it, this mole moth, and the guy was talking about like this fucking mole moth, and he was like, yeah, what happened one day, like, or once up in Chiang Mai in Thailand, there was this Brazilian couple that were camping, they were hiking and they were camping, and they were in their tent sleeping, and the guy he feels like he's just like kind of not feeling very comfortable, and it rolled back again. And then he feels like his girlfriend is like trying to like grab his crotch, I don't know, in some kind of sexual sort of act. Hey, come here, baby. And he's like, no, fuck off. And so he keeps feeling this sort of irritation, and then finally he's just like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, stop touching me. She's like, I'm not touching you. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, kind of just a little bit away from me. She's like, what do you mean? And he gets up and he's got this, it transpires, like, I'll just get to the point. He's got this fucking mole moth embedded in his urethra. Like, and the mandibles are like fucking huge, man. You're talking like these horrible big mandibles. The thing is massive. It's horrible, dirty insect. Like, thick, like a big cigar. Big fucking thing.
Telling me, mate, what the fuck?
And it was inside this guy's penis, like in his urethra, like, and because it was trying to find a place that was warm to sleep. Man, it's in the past. It's burrowed itself into people that have fallen asleep on the beach. You know, it'll crawl into their stomachs and stuff like that. See, this is a thing. You don't want to go to the jungle, man. Fuck it.
Right, okay, well, so this started as like, go to Chiang Mai, and then it's like, no, there's fucking penis moths. So like, fuck that shit. Thanks,
brutal.
Man. I can't deal with that. Like, god damn.
Well, man, if you're gonna go to the jungle, wear a fucking beekeeper suit. Don't take it off.
I'll be in like chainmail.
No, chainmail's the worst.
Armor.
Man, there's some like microscopic shit that's even worse. You know, those little bloodworms and whatnot that swim into you that fuck up your shit. Oh man, there's horrible things. Horrible things out there.
It's really important to live a good life, because like the jungle is the great karmic equalizer, or at least that's how I feel. It's like, if I've been a dick in my life and then I go off to the jungle for a retreat, like if I'm a lawyer, there's a good chance a cheetah's going to attack me in my sleep.
You got a Democratic Panther just waiting there, like, nah, he was a good guy.
If I'm a Republican, if I'm like a Republican Senate person, or like there's a great chance that I'm going to like stand on a hive of deadly like wasps.
Mate, like I honestly felt that there's so many times when I was traveling, it was just like so unfair the how I got fucked by insects. Like, and I mean, I've got very pasty skin. I'm very prone to just, I don't know if it's just like I'm some kind of beacon. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the more of the melatonin in your skin, melatonin in your skin,
Melatonin.
that it means that you've got more protection against like fucking insects or whatnot. But like, they just loved me, man. They absolutely loved me. I mean, I took the malaria tablets. I remember having all these fucking malaria tablets, and they all popped out of the bits, and they were all melting with each other. And eventually I just threw them away. I didn't use them. I was like, fuck it, I'm not using them anymore. And some of the people I met just weren't even.
It's proper heavy though, isn't it? The malaria stuff. Like, I've heard some fucking mental stories of like the side effects from those things.
Oh, I was all right, man. I was all right. My auntie, when she travelled, she had Malarone. I think that was the bad one. She was when she was alive, she was traveling around sort of like Nepal and kind of Asia and stuff like that, you know, going all over the place. That's one place I would love to go, man. I think I've never been, you know what, I've never been south of the equator after all the travels I've done. I've never been south of the equator, mate. Never made it south of the equator. So close. Bogota, I think, I've looked on the map, and I think Bogota is the closest I've got, like
south of the equator, like,
nearly to Ecuador, you know.
Well, I've been to like Gran Canaria is getting down that way, but probably nowhere near the equator. Like Africa.
Like, never been to Africa. I think I've been around Europe, stuff like that. Like Ireland, I've got big family in Ireland, but never been south of the equator. So that's something that I really would like to go in the future.
I heard this story of a cool guy who it was basically one of those clickbaity travel videos on YouTube. It was just like, I traveled around the world for 18 months with no money. And I'm like, oh, let's see how you did that then. And I'll click it. And this guy actually did. And he was super cool. And the way he did it, well, one of the many ways he did it would be he'd literally rock up to like a port, and he would hang out at the pubs where all the captains of the freight ships, which do the container ships, that drive the containers across the country to different cities. And he would just make friends with them, and he says if you made friends with them, there's quite a high chance you could just be like, hey, can I like stow away on your ship?
But you're like like a fucking
like 18 weeks or something. Like, it would be like on the ship for 18 weeks, but it was free, right? And it was like free hot showers, you know, like they just pump fucking seawater through the fucking.
Oh, you gotta be so lucky, man. You gotta be so lucky. I mean, you know what? See, when you're traveling though, dude, you meet so many people that give you these opportunities. You know what I mean? If you just go get out there, if you have like some money behind you, maybe even not that much, but just the will to try new things, just go for it. You can find yourself working in a fucking farm in Colombia, up a mountain. You know, these people do lots of workaways. I met guys that were working in islands. Like, there was a place we stayed in Panama, Bocas del Toro, which in Spanish is, I think, translates to mouth of the bull. And it was like a sort of it was a weird area, you know, because it had its own sort of climate, you know. It's a sort of microclimate sort of area, you know, sort of like North Berwick, you know, and it but more tropical.
North Berwick. It's the North Berwick Costa Rica style.
But yeah, man, it was just south of Puerto Viejo, which where we were at before in Costa Rica. We'd been to Costa Rica, met up with I don't know if you know Matthew Thornton.
No, I don't. I recognize the name, but no, I don't know him.
Great musician, man. He's got some stuff on Facebook. I don't know what his tag is, but he's fantastic. He was the keyboard player in the Dark Jokes.
Oh no way! Yeah, I think I went to that gig the Dark Jokes did at the big church down Broughton.
The St. Stephen's.
Yeah, was he playing the organ that night? Was that Matthew?
Possibly was, yeah, possibly was.
I'm gonna just write his name there just so I remember it. Sorry.
Matthew Thornton, yeah. He's a tremendous guy, man. I mean, we're gonna be hopefully getting in touch with him soon, sending him some tracks to record on with future stuff.
Beautiful.
But we met up with him in Costa Rica for like it was a good week, and we stayed in this bungalow in the jungle, man.
A jungle.
But all our fucking clothes got damp as fuck, because of the conditions of the where we were. You know, it was fucking proper jungle, man. It was like off the coast of Puerto Limon, and the four of us, like Matthew's girlfriend, myself, and Kat, and we had this place. It was sort of reminded me of like the cabin in Evil Dead, but in the jungle.
Oh shit! I love that movie.
Yeah, it was fucking cool, man. We had howler monkeys going across our fucking the canopy
God.
every evening and morning.
That's
We had
awesome.
we had these green poison dart frogs in the garden. You know, you'd see them, these little, you know, luminous green dart frogs, poison motherfuckers. They'd be running about, these little fucking pig, rat, deer things. I don't know what they're called. Picahuera. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, I know that. I think Pacahuera. I've heard that before.
Someone like that. I don't know if I've got that right or wrong, man. But I mean, the little fucking rat things that are like little miniature deer, they're weird as fuck. I was like, did we just see that? Was that a thing? They just looked so weird. Maybe there was a sloth. Saw a fucking sloth like just outside the house.
Fuck. Man, yeah. See, like
Crazy,
I need
crazy
I need those experiences in my life for sure. Like, I've done a lot of different things, but I've done loads of touristy trap shit. But I'm of the type of mind that like I'm quite happy to throw myself in an extreme situation and just see how I deal with it. It's just a case of doing it, you know. You need to like spontaneously like book that flight, whatever, and just get off the airport somewhere. Like I'm not like, and you were saying you like planning stuff out. I'm more like I'd like to literally land in Dubai with no plans. That to me appeals to me more than knowing where I'm going to go every day, in a weird way, you know. And it's maybe mad, but like I almost treat festivals like that too. Like when I get
Well,
to a
you've got to
festival,
open, you know. I mean, if you go to a
I don't,
festival and you're like, I'm going to see this band, this band, this band, this band, you're never going to be
can't do that.
fulfilled, are you? Like, you know, you're never going to be completely like, oh, I want to see these guys. I never got to see them. But if you just
Yeah,
go, you just experience it. It is what it is. I hear what you're saying, man. Yeah, yeah.
I let everyone in my company decide everything for me, even when I eat, what I drink, whatever. You know, like I'm just up for it. Whatever. Yes, I'll be yes. Um,
Well,
for
no,
the
dude.
weekend.
See, the
So I
thing
kind
is,
of
so if
treat
you
holidays
do,
that way too. Is like if I can have faith that like the world won't kill me, and you're okay asking for help, and that's a big thing. To be able to ask for help took me a while to learn. I would struggle in pain by my own, rather than just be like, "Hey, can you help me?" But as soon as I started asking for help, amazing. And you know, and the festivals are like that too. Like if you're struggling, go ask somebody, and like folk are lovely. Generally,
but if you're
people
not as well,
are
like if you're
amazing.
not tied to a plan so much, you know, you're so free with your options. You know, you're like basically you're hungry for options. You're kind of like, I don't have this agenda. Give me a fucking agenda, people that are
Yeah.
around me, you know. So like, I suppose that's a good thing when you do that. But I mean, I think having some kind of general idea of where you eventually want to be when you're trying. I mean, I got so caught up in Cambodia. I was in a place called Kampot, and I got
Hmm.
caught up in this place, man, for about a month. And I hadn't even been really to Cambodia. I hadn't been to Killing Fields or the S21 or anything. None of that stuff. None of the Khmer Rouge brutality I had experienced. I just got caught up in the whole vibe, the backpacker vibe, and locals that we met. This really cool guy called PK that used to get me weed, and he eventually took us to his new house that he built in an old rice paddy. It was like a corrugated iron house. It was like a very sort of humble abode, you know, just like cool. But there was like gigs happening every Thursday to Sunday. I was getting a paid gig every Sunday, so I was basically getting like I think about $20 for this gig. So that's like four nights rent. Met
Whoa.
a guy that was like, "Hey man, I want you to just play for my customers," and he just let me stay in his place for free.
Amazing.
But dude, later on, he got done for murder. Fucking hell, it was mental. Sorry, mate. I'm like right into the madness.
I love it. Right, no, like hit me. How the fuck?
So
It
this
sounds like
guy,
it's gone all a bit like the fucking beach, like Robert
oh man, yeah, this happens
Carlyle's
so easily. It's
fucking
just
Daffy.
it's so Wild West. Like people like that are traveling, they're so young and naive. They just do things, stupid things, put themselves in positions where they're just fucked, or they're vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, and there was a French girl called Ophelia Beggins that got murdered in
Fuck.
Campot. This was after I left, just a bit after I left, not long, mate.
Mm-hmm.
And my mate Ollie, who's this Belgian guy who had the hostel, was accused of this girl's murder because there was a reward put out for any kind of indication of any kind of evidence or whatever, and some local Cambodian had said that they'd seen Ollie put her bike in the river, in the Kampot River. And it was like, obviously these people, they were offering money for this kind of shit, you know? So eventually, man, because like Kampot is like a tourist resort, they do not want any locals being involved in this. So they arrest Ollie for her murder, put him in the fucking jail.
What the fuck?
And he's in jail. Whoever was there last, me and my mate Helen, whoever, were just like, what the fuck? When you get Ollie out of the fucking jail, this is crazy. So I'm back in Edinburgh at this point, just going, shit, what's going on, man? Spent a lot of time with this guy, you know, he's a lovely guy. There's no way he would do this. Fucking, he could have murdered me. I slept in his room, his fucking daughter's bed, you know, like he let me
Jesus
stay there for
Christ,
free.
like-
It's just, there's no way, it's just no way, you know. He's been totally accused of this because of a PR thing, you know.
So it's like, what? Is he still in fucking jail or what?
No, he's out now. He's back in Belgium. He's got some. Well, last I heard, he had some guest houses that he was sorting out over there. So he's still in that sort of game. But yeah. He got out. He got out, man. He got out the back door. Apparently, it was like a year past. Everything settled down with the case, and then he slipped out the back door, and they went, and it basically just. I think they must have said to him, "Fuck off," and then they said, "Oh, he done a runner," you know. So it's like all that shit, mate. It was dodgy. It was so shady. Cambodia, man, it's fucked up. Fucking, you gotta be careful, mate. There was a girl there that died when I was in 4,000 Islands in Laos. There was a lassie that I mean, just things can just happen on like just on a whim. You know,
Spur of the
we were
moment, it can get out
exactly
of
like,
hand. I've seen
with
that happen.
alcohol, with the whole tourist thing, that with other shit, you know, it's all just waiting to just fucking for someone just to die, you know, so easily. This girl was a Japanese girl. She drank too much. She got pulled out into the Mekong. She drowned.
Oh my god.
And the whole island is like Don Det. There's like 3 islands down that way. Don Det, Dong Chong, Dong Kong. I know. But they're the islands. We were on Don Det. We were in the beach there. She got taken out by the river. And her thing is, there's fuck all there. There's no ATM. There's no
Was it just
fucking
what?
hospital.
She slipped in, like she went swimming and didn't
She went swimming with her
understand.
pals and got swept off by a current and just got swept away. Yeah,
Jesus.
just drunk, just alcohol and probably by herself. I don't know the exact shit, but she died. She was basically, they couldn't exhume her body for a couple of days, man. She was like fucking under the roots of this tree.
Oh my god.
Not far away from the island for a couple of days. Her mates had to go and like identify her, and then grim, mate. It's grim, you know what I mean? So you gotta be careful when you're fucking traveling about, you know. Do it by yourself, but don't fucking do any mad shit, you know.
Just be observing, isn't it? Like, when I was in America, I was in LA, and I had a couple of nights where I got proper drunk, and
It's alcohol, man. That's it.
I was sketchy in dangerous places. I remember walking through downtown at like 4 in the morning. I just, not a fucking care in the world. And it's like folk were looking at me. I stood out. But all the same, was quite a rewarding experience, to think back in the morning and be like, what the fuck did you do last night? That's crazy.
I remember in New York. Have you been to New York before?
No, mate. So I'm gonna hopefully get to go over there with Stevie at some point. We're gonna go play some music in New York. But yeah, I want to go visit. I've never been. I've seen it from New York Airport, but never set foot.
Well, I wasn't properly out in New York City, but we went from there. My cousin was living near there in Brooklyn at the time. I went over traveling. I was about 28 with my parents and my brother, and I got a wee day away from them. Went to New York City. I suppose it was the first time I sort of went away by myself on the train from New Jersey to New York City, which was fucking cool, man. I remember listening to The Doors. It's like The Doors live in Madison Square Gardens or something. And that's exactly where I came out in the train. You know what I mean? So you come out Madison Square
cool, and
or Penn Street Station, and you're like, listen to the tunes, and you come out and you're like, fuck me. It's like fucking, you see the cops, and you just see New York, man. And you're just like, wow, fucking New York, And I was like, oh, mate.
Everything looks like a movie, right? It must do.
It's like Spider-Man, like all the movies.
I gotta get that. Like
all the movies.
I had that bit in Los Angeles and seeing the bits and places. I remember going to the tar pits at La Brea, and like if you've seen Last Action Hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like there's the scene where he jumps off the big building, like zip lines into the tar pits and comes out and like wipes himself clean.
Is that in LA? Is that Los Angeles? Like, yeah,
it was like down from my hostel. It was like literally 20-minute walk down to La Brea from West Hollywood. I was staying like right in the fucking thick of it. But I had not a lot of money, so I kind of just became like a fly on the wall in that area. And I'd just go, and I didn't have a car or anything. I'd just go off wandering in a different direction every day, and I would literally find like things from movies all the time. I remember my first ever wander. I just went walking off, ended up on Sunset Strip, and then got lost and realized I was in Beverly Hills. And so like I had this thing where I was like I had certain tracks I wanted to listen to in certain places, so I got fucking Weezer on. I put Weezer on my earbuds and listened to Beverly Hills when I was walking around, just seeing these cars and people and just soaking it in, man. Just being like, whoa, this is weird.
No, man, I've never been over that side. I have family over there, but I've never been over that side of the States. I mean,
you should go visit them. Where are the family stay?
The Idaho.
Ooh, where's Idaho?
It's sort of Seattle.
Cool.
Washington State, like sort of that way, like. But I mean, I've got my another cousin in Colorado, another cousin. I've got I mean, I'd love to go back to certain places, but you know what it's like, it's never the same. You're like,
not
that place is great. It's not going to be the same again. So it's all that sort of shit. So like, I think I'd like to do something like climb some kind of mountain, like Kilimanjaro. Oof. My auntie done that when she was alive. She lost her lung. She had cancer, she lost a lung. Well, in surgery it was removed, and she done all the Monroes. Like
after.
No, before that, she'd done all the Monroes.
I was gonna say,
he's an amazing person. She's seen Jimi Hendrix, and she went to the Isle of Wight festival.
Mate, wow! Didn't she come on the podcast? Ask her just about that. Probably just like, tell me about the Isle of Wight festival.
Well, if she was alive, I'm sure she'd love to, man. Like,
oh man,
yeah. No, she died a while ago. But like she told me that she went to the Isle of Wight festival with her pals initially, and then
Wow.
a Hell's Angel drove up and went, "Do you want to come with me?" And she's like, "Okay." So she basically just went with this Hell's Angel
Wow.
into the
You
Isle of
know,
Wight
that
festival.
is so like those stories. Like, I mean, oh man, imagine being. Just imagine. Like when Jimmy came to London, like that whole period of buzz and time, like would have just been crazy. I'd love to,
Well, music
if I
was
had
such
a
a
time machine,
sanctimonious thing, wasn't it? It was so like it was so fucking it was religious, man. It was
we could maybe
I mean,
finish on this. Is
yeah.
this if you had a time machine and you could go back in time and go to let's be nice. Let's do 3 gigs instead of one. Like if there's 3 gigs that you could go back in time and watch, like from a good view, and just be part of that night. What 3 gigs would you like to go and just be a fly on the wall?
Rory Gallagher, 74 Irish tour, whatever it was. Um, the Doors, Hollywood Bowl, and um, probably one of the sort of like, yeah, like the Jimi Hendrix inside the little London clubs sort of vibe, you know, or the
Yeah,
Stones at a London club, little sort of, at least meet these London clubs for tiny little things. Yeah.
I think that's the ones that get me is like some really prolific huge band, but when they were doing an open mic somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
like
Right. Okay. Yeah, I
imagine
get
that would
that.
be pretty cool. Like maybe for a couple, but then again, I mean, it'd be cool to go watch Metallica play 1 million people in Russia as well, because that's something that we're on about earlier. That shit will never probably happen again. That unified love of one thing.
Oh, see,
One.
I've got tickets for a gig in April, so we'll see if that
Who's it?
happens.
Is it for?
It's the Teskey brothers.
All right, never heard of them. Taxi Brothers.
Yeah, they're sort of like a soul band, Aussie soul situation. Yeah, they've got some cool tunes, man. So they're playing in
Loads,
Glasgow, and my brother
loads
got
of
me a
things.
ticket for Christmas, so hopefully that works. Maybe
Loads of
not.
things.
We'll see.
Yeah, I got an Idols ticket. I can't remember when that's set for, but uh, why is this not? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to go ahead. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I've got all the hope in the world, but all the same, just got to wait it out until everyone's safe and all that shit.
That's it, man. Stay positive. We'll get back there eventually. There'll be gigs all
Exactly.
happening. They'll be the best gigs we've ever been at.
Yes. Chris, man, it's been fucking lovely catching up, mate. It's been a lovely evening. Well, this is my morning.
Yeah, man. Go and get
I'm
your
kind
lunch.
of
Go and
like
get your lunch, man.
my clock has flipped round, but hell, that's just roll with the punches. Chris, I love you, man. I'll talk to you soon, buddy, and take care.
Nice one, dude. Peace and love, brother. Take it easy.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Okay, cool. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight, and obviously this will be up on YouTube. You can catch it later on all the stuff. Gonna have a night off tomorrow, and then on Friday evening got Cammy Fair, Venus as a Boy, and obviously local sound guy, and just all round legend on Friday night. But yeah, have a lovely Wednesday evening, and I'll see you all on Friday.